Both pointed at us. How do I share this? Where's the share button? What's this?
Right next to the other button.
Hey, it's the share button.
See, told you.
All right.
Clean up things so it doesn't look like we're a damn mess.
It's better though. I want the yellow cables everywhere.
Is your Del Taco still?
Yeah, I need that.
Okay, I figured.
It's critical for the panel. I think it's working. You, and you. There's chat. Hi. Oh, hi, Evan. Scared me.
Do you need this one set up if we have that one? There's two of us?
Yes. That's a backup.
Okay, does this have batteries in it? This feels very light. So.
That needs batteries too.
Two more batteries. I don't know if I saw two more batteries in there. Hey, guys. Do you see a power button on this? Batteries. And this will also need to be in the stand?
Yep, that's what the other stands for. There should be a fuzzy thing in a black plastic bag in there. Oh! I lost my... Oh, no, it's going up here. That's why. Yep.
Oh,
you all can see the chat for a second, I think. Whenever it comes up. It's very dark. Okay. It's there. It's just very dark.
I think it's warming up.
It's warming up. Hey, YouTube chat. Don't worry. You're not going to be on screen the whole time. But that also means I'm not going to see you all the whole time. But it should be recording the chat. What's up, Jeff G? I do.
You probably need light, right?
Yes.
I can do that for the screen.
Oh, I don't mind this.
Because he gets to see himself really big. Okay.
Now I just need to alter this so we can see Aaron too. You guys won't be seeing this the whole time. We actually have slides. This is just our own personal vanity. I'm rolling Aaron in with this. It's actually my personal vanity.
Hi. So this one is on. I've not hit the right button.
Getting this one on too. This is going to be room recording. No worries.
The 8 people that are here, you guys bought cards, the TCG cards.
Yeah, that is the thing we want to know is, even though it's called the Beginner's Guide, does anyone here, like, are you all actually playing the TCG at all? Have you all had a chance to try it out?
I'm interested, right?
Okay.
Excellent.
Okay. Have you bought cards?
No.
Okay.
Okay. There's no right answer. We just want to know for our own data, for how we proceed. So you're going to stop seeing this in a second.
As if the slides weren't already made.
Yeah. Well, it's for the flow. It's for the flow. So that's all good to go. Switch this on. Let's see if this works. Yeah! Can you guys see that? I'm really excited about this. I've never got to handle one of these before. So I learned, like, I don't point it into the audience when my thumb's on it, because that's how you kill people. So keep it pointed over here. And that way I did not have to have arrows point at things in the slides, because that's a whole lot of work, having things like fly on in a slideshow.
And there's whole discussions about useless red circle. There's one thing on the slide, we'd better circle it.
Yep, that's YouTube thumbnails. Big red arrow.
Yeah.
I got a text message from Aaron Smith asking where I'm at. Just reply to him.
Yeah, thank you.
Here. All right. So I'm going to get these going.
Hey, people are filing in.
Are they?
Oh. Yeah, yes.
Oh, channel record.
So, Chris, my friend.
Yo.
I don't know how you can see that. Are you okay with that shot?
This looks fine.
Okay, even though your other camera's sort of in the way.
That's okay.
That's okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
We don't mind people seeing how sausage is made.
Yeah. I like the gear being everywhere.
All right.
If all these cables could be bright yellow, they would be. Damn it. Be more fun. Let me know when you're good.
Yeah, it's kind of grainy because we turned that light off. But
That's
if you're
right.
happy, I'm happy.
Yeah, it's good. It should be, if I make a video out of it, it should be a little window with like the slides on the other half.
Actually, you know what? Oh, you're going to put the slides on.
I'm going to put them in post.
Okay, so
No, just a little bit of it so I can see when stuff flips around.
So we'll ask again for everybody that's out there. How many of you have bought cards and played the game already?
Are we not supposed to be here?
No,
No, you can be here.
No, that's okay. We're just trying to meter the level of.
Just please don't yell "you're wrong" when we're giving the information.
What if you're right? I still want to yell you're wrong.
All right. Well, if we really are wrong,
we'll have you removed from the panel. And
we'll have you removed from the panel.
That's fair.
Thank you. So I think we're good to go.
Yeah.
Okay. Do we need these? Do we need these?
Not really.
Yeah. Most of you all
both
sit
of
up
us can
front.
project.
Yeah. If you, we do
Not like
invite
we need
you.
our voices later.
Sit on up front if you can. Oh, okay. There's 2 microphones, right?
Can I drag this one over, or will it mess stuff up?
You see, I have these slides set up to take about 5 minutes per slide, and the way that that's a cheat is this slide is also timed to be 5 minutes long.
Yeah.
If you want to read it real slow. So, hello everyone, and welcome to the first panel of TFcon LA 2019. Y'all are the early birds. Y'all got your tickets, I think. I actually don't care. That's not my job. Welcome to a beginner's guide to Transformers, the trading card game, a beginner's guide for beginner's guide presenters.
Yes.
We've never presented a beginner's guide before, but we don't think we're beginners at the game, so
we're all experimenting with you.
It's pretty fun.
With you and with you.
I've got this little thing to click through the slides, and I had it sitting in front of me, and I reached over it to push on the keyboard to skip to the next slide.
Still beginners on this.
Still beginners. So, starting off, TCG means trading card game, means often blind-packed booster packs of cards. I'm saying this up front because this is something you really should know if you haven't even tried the game at all. It is a blind pack booster game. There's no real way around it, and that's going to be a hurdle for some folks. So be aware of that. There are pre-con decks. The first one that wasn't a starter deck, Metroplex, was actually not bad.
Yeah.
So it's not a bad way to get
I have
in.
a version of it in this nonsense here.
Aaron's also got cards here in case you don't like. If you don't believe we play the game, we have a thing full of cards, which doesn't prove we've ever used them.
Yeah.
The deck size in this game, a minimum of 40 of the small battle cards. They look like that. The minimum is 40. The upper level is however many battle cards there are times 3, but we're going to talk about whether or not you want to go that high. And then your star count can be maximum of 25 stars. You can see the stars down here on the character cards, and then in Wave 2, they added some of these with 1 star. These are counted in the 25 total. So you don't have to have 25 stars. That's just the maximum. And you're kind of leaving some value on the table if you don't, as of these 1-star cards. So this is the basic way to get going in this game. Then you want to choose your characters. And we're going at this from the vantage point of a beginner. The advice we're giving is to get you into just trying out the game. There are going to be better ways to go about stuff once you're deep in. If you want to look up some great content on that, there are so many creators out there. Like Wasi Plays, TCG Rollout, Wreck and Rule, Vector Sigma Info, Powered by Primus, Fish Formers. There are tons of people with a lot more focused content to talk about this stuff. Vector Sigma Info, very specifically, is high competitive level, which means there's a lot of really good math in there, and it can be very intimidating to look at as well. But there's a lot of info out there that might contradict some of this. This is just to get you in the door. So when you're choosing characters, just pick your favorites. Like, let's say, like me, you saw Flame War was in the game, and you're like, holy moly, Wave 1 Flame War, I want it! And then you got it, and then it was a common, and you ended up with a ton of Flame Wars. The thing to do here is, once you've picked your favorite character, you think to yourself, are there any synergies with other characters? This doesn't have to be super high level. It can simply be, Skydive has Tough 2. When Flame War is a robot, everyone on your team has Tough 1. That means that when she's a robot and he's on the table, he's got Tough 3. That's a little synergy. He's got Tough, she pumps Tough. Hey! So that's a basic synergy idea. There's going to be more stuff you'll see yourselves where you're like, hey, this guy makes me discard cards, and this character is happy when I'm discarding cards. I'll put them together. And then you build your basic deck of minimum 40 cards. You want to aim for 40 cards because that's better consistency. If you have 120 cards in your deck, you're a lot less likely to actually see some of the cards you want to see because you are still drawing from a pool of, in that case, 120, as opposed to if you're drawing from...
if you're looking for 8 drill arms and you can have 3 of them in the deck, and then all of a sudden you're twice as thick as everybody else, those numbers go down.
Yeah, that's why a lot of card games have a minimum. That's a streamlined deck that'll run cleanly. You can go up to like 42 or 43 if you're testing stuff out, and it's not going to make things too crazy. But anything past that's a bit much. There are two types of cards in the game: action cards and upgrade cards. Each turn you can play one of each. So you want to have roughly equal levels of them so that you can maximize your chance every turn of playing two cards. And that means about 18 to 22 of each. You don't have to go full 20-20, but I find if I go beyond 18 down, 22 up, I start having hands full of stuff where I can only play one card out of my hand as opposed to two. There may be decks eventually where you want to do that. But,
right.
And then decide on your pip orientation. Slow down, pal. What's a pip? We're going to find out. We're going to find out about
You worked so hard for that, and now...
Picking perfect pips, pal.
There you go. There you go.
So there are three types of pips we're going to mainly talk about. Orange, sometimes red, because the human eye is a weird machine. Blue, and white. There's orange, there's blue, there's white. You can see up here, it's where the pip is. There are green pips, but don't worry about that for now. Anyway, that slides over, but I said picking perfect pips, pal!
There, you got that one right.
Yeah, thank you. Decide which way to lean. Which is to say, if you want to go aggro, lean orange. If you want to go defense or control, lean blue. Those pips, basically, when you're in combat, you're flipping at least two cards off the top of your deck. You're looking at the pips, and those are modifying the combat values. Orange ones make you attack harder if you're attacking. Blue ones make you defend harder if you're defending. So these are two easy ways to, if you're building your first deck, try to tweak it a bit. Like, I'm running the Dinobots, and they punch hard. So I'm going to have, like, a whole bunch of orange. Some people just go full orange, which is really great when you're attacking and really sad when you're defending. So you want to have, if you're leaning in a direction, I would say, especially if you're beginning, have about 20 to 24 of your 40 cards be in your leaning color. That means in a 40-card deck, you're very likely to flip at least one of them every time you're doing something. And that's some of that consistency stuff.
Right.
And so while we're saying that, there are these two cards. These are two common cards. If you bought the starter deck, you have 2 of each of these already. If you buy booster packs, you have about 18 of each of these. These double pips up here mean that they count for double when you flip them for combat. If you're building your first deck and you're leaning towards one of these two colors, pile some of these in, depending which color you're leaning towards. It's just going to make your math a little bit more friendly. You're going to feel more excited when you flip a double pip, and you're like, now you're dead.
That's what I needed this time.
Or you flip 2 double blue pips, and you got Bombshell with this big defense, and you're like, did you know Bombshell's a giant tank of a character? Neither did I, but in the card game he is.
Yeah.
And then there are also white pips. Those white pips we talked about, when you flip one of those, once per combat, that lets you flip an extra 2 cards.
It's like a critical hit.
Yeah, and you'd like to try to get those as often as possible, but if you flood your deck with white pip cards, you'll flip like 4 white pips, and that means you actually didn't do anything. You just flipped a lot of cards. So I found approximately 6 to 8 white pips in a 40-card deck means you see them often enough that you don't feel like you've, janked your deck somehow. You're like, where'd they all go? We got a comment over here saying 9.
9 is the mathematical correct. So
There is also math you can look up about, like, depending on what you want. 6 to 8 is when you kind of go by brain feel. It's kind of like, with coffee they got mouth feel, and then with toys you got hand feel, with music you got ear feel. It's kind of like brain feel for math. It's math by feeling rather than by science. So you've got your perfect pips. Now you want to put your picked perfect pips together into a deck. We forced the alliteration in this panel. So if you have lean towards orange, you're going to want to have cards that add bold. The bold value means you flip extra cards when you attack. So if you've built towards flipping lots of attack cards, then put a flamethrower onto someone, they're flipping more attack. Also, it's really fun to put flamethrowers onto characters like Metroplex, where you're like, what is this even doing? It's like I put a little ring on his finger. It's like, he's just the size of a city. Metroplex is a city transformer.
In case you don't know Transformers, in which case, why are you here?
Because you like card games.
Yeah.
If you're going to blue, where bold adds to your attacks, tough adds to your defense. So if you have reinforced plating and someone attacks you, instead of flipping 2 cards on your defense, you flip 4 cards. You can have like +8 defense or something, and you stuff their attack. And then cards that add plus attack are different from bold, and they depend on your characters and tactics. What this means, there are cards in the game, like Leap into Battle, and the bigger they are, where they say add plus attack. That's different than the cards you're flipping. That's just changing the numerical attack number. if you're running a heavy blue deck, for instance, but you have guys you want to punch hard with, you'll want to run some of these cards so you're still increasing their incoming damage value without relying on flipping a bunch of orange. That's that more control play. Which brings us to beginner mistakes. And I say beginner in quotes because people who've played the game since it came out still make these mistakes. I make them constantly. In fact, I've sometimes played a card that said I played, for instance, that Leap into Battle we saw, and someone says, that's not Leap into Battle. That's some card that doesn't even look like it. And it's because in my head, I was like, if I had Leap into Battle right now,
this would be it.
Oh, so I'm going to play it. And they're like, you don't have Leap into Battle. You're right. Why am I playing at 2 in the morning? Because I'm a real good player. So some of the beginner mistakes that get made. This is a big one, actually. This is one that I wish was more clearly stated in the rules when people start stuff. There's some lag on the stream. Sorry, I'm able to see the stream from here thanks to a kind volunteer from the audience. Or is the stream frozen? Yeah.
Yeah, who cares?
So when you play action cards from your hand, and when you flip cards for combat, attack or defense, they go into their own little pile, and they don't go into your scrap or your discard pile till the end of the turn. That's important for a number of reasons, but the big reason is that when you run out of your deck, you recycle your scrap pile into a new deck. This rule disallows you from kind of stuffing a bunch of really good cards back into your deck right before it recycles. And this rule, I don't think, is very clear in the official rules. And I think a lot of people miss this rule. And I used to miss it constantly. And then I thought that this rule only applied to actions you play and not cards that you're, et cetera, et cetera. So that's important, I think. And it's also a good way to keep track of if you played an action this turn, is you're putting it in a different part of the table. You're like, hey, I played Leap into Battle already. Also, read the cards. This game is extremely literal to the point of confusing seasoned CCG players because it's so literal, and so many other card games are so unliteral. People are like, well, bold doesn't stack, right? They're like, no, it stacks. Like, oh.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
There are some other TCGs that will have, like, there's a manual that is, like, the official rule. Like, yeah, you can learn most of it, but if you get into the really deep levels of it, there's, well, actually, due to paragraph 503 subsection B, it does it this way. And thankfully, this card game does not have that. It's very much reading the card explains it, and away you can go.
Yeah, this game does have, I think, its own versions of stuff like, Magic the Gathering's Stack, but it's a lot more straightforward, and it is concrete literal for the most part. And they also have both a very good FAQ and weekly rules question and answer periods on their Facebook page where they answer some of the weird edge cases. Yeah. Like there's a card called Treasure Hunt. You take the top 4 cards of your deck, toss them, and then look before you put them into the scrap pile. If any of them are upgrades, you keep them. If you have less than 4 cards left in your deck, that means a deck recycle happens during the card. What does that mean? And they have answers for that. It actually means that you recycle your deck, but you don't include the things you were taking off for Treasure Hunt, because Treasure Hunt's now in a parallel dimension happening on its own. It's kind of like, do any of you know speed running in video games? Mario 64 speed running. There's this great essay I saw on the internet about half A presses, where you half press the A button to generate alternate realities inside the game so you can run through it faster. It's kind of like that. Go look up half A press Mario. It's a great video. It's really straightforward.
Card game.
Another thing to do, and I see a lot of people do this when they start the game. They'll build to have basically the same number of orange pip and blue pip cards, like an even ratio. That's not an invalid tactic to do, but that is one where you really got to have a plan, because that means you don't really know what you're going to flip off the top of your deck unless you have mechanics in play to help you structure that. So if you're just starting the game, I would really recommend going dead simple and just go, do I want to go for blue defense control, or do I want to go for orange aggro? And then once you get some gameplay under your belt, you get used to the system, that's when you start reaching out and getting into more creative ratios with white pip cards as well. And don't shy away. There are cards in this game with no pips on them, and that usually is because they do something pretty powerful on their own. Like Plasma Burst has no pips because you play it, and you just do 2 damage to a character. That's it, no consequences. They balance that by having it not interact with combat at all if you flip it over, so it's the risk you take. There are some folks I've met, and I used to be one of them, who was like, be careful about the pipless cards, they're going to mess you up. But technically, anytime you flip a pipless card in combat, you're missing a +1 modifier. Some of these pipless cards are like, do 3 damage to somebody. That's a whole lot more than adding +1 to your attack. So as you play the game more and you start wanting to work some more of these into your decks, don't shy away from it. Go whole hog, put too many in, and make that the way that you learn what makes you comfortable. which then leads to this. Play what you like and not what you're told to, which is a weird thing to say at a beginner's guide panel, given how we're telling you what to do. So don't listen to us. Now, what this means is...
Wait, don't listen to us to don't...
Yes, don't listen to us to not listen to us.
Okay.
When we tell you not to listen to us, don't listen to us. All right, there's no robots in the crowd. That was a little test. Y'all seen Blade Runner, right? That was the what would you do with the turtle thing?
Yeah.
With the suitcase.
Why you turn it on your back?
Yeah. Exactly. Where this comes from primarily is I got into this game about a couple months after I got back into Magic, and I hadn't been into Magic since I was in like grade school. There's nothing wrong with playing hard competitive. I have no problem with aiming your dialogue about the game towards playing hard competitive. The part that bums me out are people who feel like they're supposed to play hard competitive, which I think is a key difference. Where someone who's been playing the game for a week says, "Why would you use that card? It's bad." And you're like, "Why is it bad?" Well, because it's not in a top level, competitive, going to win a tournament deck. And you're like, "All right, but this is like casual beginner night, so that's good to know. That's not really pertinent to this unless you really want to kick the butts of all the other beginners.
Yeah,
get some street cred.
Just rub that 8-year-old's nose in it.
Yeah." Now, when I talk about children, you got to stop children.
Okay. I wanted to know where your line was.
Yeah, it's important. Yeah, make sure they know. They're not as tall as you. Yeah. When children beat you, that's bad because it means that you don't matter as much. It's fine. The kids can beat me up whenever they want. That sounded weird.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're gonna get a little bit beginner advanced now. It's a term I made up, which means slightly more advanced than beginner. Green pips. We didn't talk about them. So some cards have a green pip on them. This is a new mechanic they introduced in Wave 2. If you flip a card in combat and there's a green pip on it, after all the combat is done, but right before you take those cards and put them in your scrap pile, you can swap a card from your hand with one of the green pip cards you revealed, which basically means that you can pull a card out that you flipped that you didn't draw in your hand. This is a fun mechanic because it means that you can put cards in your deck where it's like, you might not need this card, but you'll see it at some point as you're flipping through. And if there are cards you absolutely want, like an armor that gives you tough 2, you will get that armor because you're either going to draw it or you're going to flip it and be able to swap for it. So if you have cards you feel have a mechanic that's utterly critical, then a green pip version might be the one you want to pop in there. Also, some of those green pip cards, like you saw reinforced plating earlier, that card that gives you tough 2. In Wave 2, they added a card that does the exact same thing, but it has a different name and different pips. One of them is green. If you really need tough 2 armor, that also means you can technically run 6 copies of tough 2 armor, or less. So green pips are very fun. I think they've made the game a lot more exciting for me to play.
Yeah.
And on a beginner level, it can be a little bit daunting because it's a whole other weird mechanic happening in the middle of the game, but it's a great way to feel more confident about what you're going to get your hands on. Also, your deck will recycle. It's very rare in this game that you don't get to your deck running out at least once. So don't feel bad about tossing stuff. If you have cards that say draw 3, scrap 2, if you don't want to scrap anything in your hand, then you just think, okay, but what am I going to use in the next couple turns? Which I don't think leads to the next one, but it doesn't lead to the next one. This one, ratios are key. We were talking about some math ratios earlier, like 18 to 22 copies of actions to upgrades, etc. A lot of this game, as someone who's still kind of fresh to card games, seems like it's very ratio oriented. Like you're dividing everything by 40 to see if you're going to pull it. You can look at your scrap pile, and if you know, for instance, I have 9 orange pip cards in this deck. I'm about to attack. Look at my scrap pile. There are 9 orange pip cards in my scrap pile. You know you're not going to pump your attack when you flip cards, and that can be useful information. So if you're really good at ratios, you might have fun with this game. If you're not really good at ratios, then hopefully we get more deck list sites going because there's only 2, I think. And sequencing is not. This actually sounds way more mathematical than it really is. But basically, when you tap a character in this game, you turn their card sideways to attack with them. One of the rules in the game is if there are characters who are tapped, they are your first targets. You have to attack those characters over untapped characters. So if you're going first and you attack with somebody, that is who is going to be attacked in the next turn. And that can lead to being able to sort of sequence stuff out in your head. Like, once you realize, say you have a character that your opponent hates and wants to step on their throat, like Nemesis Prime, for instance, it might be, oh, I don't want to open with Nemesis Prime to go smash Ruckus, because then the rest of their team, one of those other 2, might just kick Nemesis Prime in the groin and his brain will come out of his mouth like they do in Transformers. So because of that, you can sort of think a few turns ahead. Like, if I attack with this guy, he's probably going to go with that one. And then if I go with this one, they're probably going to go with this one. And
a little bit of that chess dance of knowing, like, you may even have, I've got one of my decks. It kind of has a sacrificial character in it that, like, these other two pieces are important. So you put that sacrificial character out there first to draw it in and then start breaking it through so that your key pieces don't get eaten up first.
Yeah. And that's kind of a part of slightly advanced deck building, too, is you have, like, these two characters who have this amazing synergy together. They're going to blow people up. RC and Thrust, it turns out, are a team made in heaven, and they didn't know it. No fiction supports it, but someday it will. When I start writing, we're going to get Team Ars Thrust out there. That's what I call them. It's a portmanteau. So, you have these two characters that kick some butt. You got leftover stars. In his case, it's like, well, Blitzwing has an ability where if he's a viable target, you have to attack Blitzwing. So Blitzwing is there to die,
Yes.
as he is in most fiction.
And he dies well.
Yeah. Sometimes very long and slow. It's very I was just playing against Aaron's deck for the first time today, and boy howdy, would I like to just throw Blitzwing out a window. That's illegal, unfortunately. So yeah, and also, I don't know why, but this game made me understand chess logic. I still can't actually play chess because it's not Transformers.
Okay.
If they make Transformers chess, maybe.
Well, we'll look into it.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's a set out there.
I'm dawdling a little bit because we got time. We're actually burning through this panel pretty hardcore. We're doing some good pace. So, good job.
Thank you.
Good job.
I just let you talk, mostly.
I don't know. Just punch me out at some point.
Okay.
Make it exciting. Anyway, if you want to play the TCG, if you're all excited going like, now I understand what the pips are, you can play the TCG here, now, tonight, at 8 o'clock, till 8:45. There's free learn to play and open play. The TCG room is near here.
Okay, so
I don't know
you
where
kept
it is.
talking. I was going to go. So towards the convention center. So you all got your wristbands? You started that? Okay. So the hotel part that you walked through before you got here, if instead you go that way towards the end, and I hope there'll be signage up because we've asked about it, there will be a room at the end that will have TCG space for the rest of the weekend. It's where if anybody did the customs class, it's that same room. There will be open play. I think he's got a couple of the...
Got some more stuff coming up here, too.
He's got a couple of the starter kits and starter decks that are simple, that have some of the more complex stuff pulled out of it, so you can learn the rhythm of the flow before you start throwing in the complicated things.
And ideally, if anyone who's experienced with the game is in there playing during one of these periods, like ourselves, we're going to not then run our best decks and try to just stomp on a bunch of beginners, because the whole aforementioned thing about it.
Maybe.
Why are you looking at him?
Because it needs to be looked at in that context.
Okay. Sorry, I just noticed these things. You're doing okay, though. Also, at 9 o'clock tonight till 11, there are $10 constructed box tourneys. This is if you are playing the game a bit and you've got a deck. This is you pay in $10. You and 8 people. You're all going to get a pack regardless of what happens. Single elimination. If you lose immediately, you get a pack. If you win one game, then lose, you get 2 packs. If you place second, you get 10. If you place first, you get 12. That's what I'm kind of psyched for, because in Canada, this game is not out yet in Wave 2. And I sure could use some more Wave 2, because we don't have any. That's just tonight. Tomorrow, from noon till 3 is free. Learn to play. Open play. Do whatever you like. 3:30 till 5:30, $10 2-pack turbo. If you've not played this game before, this is a really fun way to just try the game out. 2-pack turbo is something the game's booster collation has been tuned. I said collation a whole bunch in the video, and someone literally just went off on me. So collation. They build a little bit around playing for sealed as well, because it's Wizards of the Coast, and that's a great excuse to also sometimes make cards that kind of suck, like computer sabotage.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that later. Basically, you get 2 packs. You open them. The 2 characters are your team. The 14 cards are your deck. Go. The balancing thing is you count up the star difference. Whoever has... whoever has the least stars goes first, and whoever has the most stars, the difference of the stars is how much damage they have to start the game with. So it's a pretty fun format, as long as no one pulls Nemesis Prime. And someone did. I was at a 2-pack tourney event a couple weeks ago. I pulled Sergeant Cup and the Common Megatron, which is not an amazing team. I still managed to beat that Nemesis Prime once. I felt pretty darn big. It felt big and tall. It's a lot of Pierce.
Yeah.
Never did it again. Lost twice. So that's a fun way to try out the game if you're at this panel because you're waiting for something else. But this all sounds interesting. Also, this way you get 2 packs of cards. If you don't want them, you can throw them at someone like children because children want cards, and then they get free stuff. And then at 5:45 till 8, $10 constructed box tourneys. I already explained that up here, as you can see with my helpful laser pointer. So you can do that again tomorrow. But what about Sunday, Aaron?
I don't know. What about
Sunday? Free open play. That's what about is up in about. Sunday basically is just going to be the room's open. You can come in and play. That's actually my favorite way of playing the game because it means you can try out a deck and then you can sort of just tweak it a bit and keep playing the same deck over and over again until you figure out how to make it work. I like doing. They call it in the MTG, Magic the Gathering, doing reps with your deck, which I think makes it sound way more buff than it really is. But I like saying it. I like telling people, yeah, I'm going to do some reps with the Nemesis Warbomb deck I made. We're on V5 now. I'm pretty sure pretty soon I'm going to beat that kid who keeps bringing the Rare Optimus. He's going to respect me. I didn't bring that deck, though, so don't worry. Actually, no, I did. That's literally the deck I did.
That's the deck that we were just turning on.
Yeah, that's right. I have to make all the other decks I want to make. Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. I'm also going to get some reps in with those other decks. So if you want to get some reps in with your decks, come on out to Sunday free open play. Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, that having been said.
Yeah.
Any questions? Anyone want to know stuff about this game? Anyone have any questions about why they're doing things even? Why is it in booster packs? We have answers for everything. Or just any questions about life in general or Transformers. We have a lot of experience accrued between the two of us. And we feel we can answer literally anything you ask us. So we're opening the floor. Yes, you there in the front.
Yeah.
Yes, you there. Yeah.
You're in the front.
Wait. Yes. Yeah, you there in the front. Yeah.
How do combiners work?
Okay.
So
hold on.
Ignore the proxied Metroplex card.
Yeah. So the way that combiners work is find the green pip in that one. Do something. Fine.
All right, I'll gently put your cards down.
Yeah. So the combiners. So Wave 2 introduces 3-sided cards, is what they're called.
Hang on.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So the 3-sided cards are 2 sides that this card folds in half, but I have it in a hard case with 2 other sleeves underneath it because I'm sick in the head. And so the card as it plays, you fold it in half. So instead of being a big card like this, flipped back and forth, it's like that. But when you get your Dinobot Enigma card that lets you combine your Dinobots and you have all of your Dinobots in play, instead...
In a robot mode
in robot mode in play. Instead, they all start coming together on the backside like this.
This idea is very ahead of its time, so much so that some game developer went back in time and stole it for a game called Yu-Gi-Oh! Where they had some character called Exodia who could form together from a bunch of cards.
And so all 5 of these together,
there has to have been an easier way to do this.
Yeah, makes the combined form. And so then all the damage that they had together goes on the combined form as part of the balance of it. So it's not like you get somebody that's fresh and new after it's all said and done. And generally they'll have some other thing that when they combine, do a thing, or
they all have one effect.
But they can have 5 weapon cards attached to them instead of the 1 weapon card that characters normally can. That's
Predaking's big thing is he can carry 5 weapons, which means you can just stack him with grenade launchers and flamethrowers. So he's just like an arcing thing of death. Aerial bots are actually pretty fun. Aerial bots and the Stunticons of all the combiners were kind of designed to be beginner combiners. They're a team of 5. They run sort of linearly. They have some cool abilities. The aerial bots, Superion is pretty darn strong in my opinion. When he forms, he just does 3 direct damage to somebody. And then he's got all these little bonuses baked into his stat line and into his abilities. But yeah, the basic way combiners works, everyone has to be in robot mode. In Wave 2, they added the thing where you can transform characters who are KO'd. I say that in quotes because you're not supposed to say that verb because it deletes the break. They flip to convert to robot mode even when they're KO'd. So you get them all into robot mode and you go. The Stunticons and the aerial bots, they all just have to be on the table going. The Dinobots and Optimus Maximus are weird because you only start with half of them on the table and then they bring the other ones into the KO pile directly through various means. Predaking's also just a straightforward one. He's just, Predaking. He's buff.
Predaking.
So that's how they're not too hard to pull. Like, they changed the collation so that 1 in 2 boosters has a 3-sided, folding card, along with the regular rarities. So with 2 of the combiners being commons, then there's actually a 2-part combiner as well, which is Dreadwing, who runs even easier than the other ones. You just have to toss 3 cards from your hand to combine them. It's pretty easy to get a combiner and give it a shot. We got a question over there in the back.
Given where the cards and combiners came from, are they dual monsters?
Are they dual monsters? Hang on a second. That is owned by Wizards of the Coast, so that is where the shardware, the
Technology.
the technology.
Combiners are dual monsters.
Yes, they are. What's the other word for that? They made another
Kaijudo?
Kaijudo. They are Kaijudo-ka. Yes, over here with the Thundercat shirt.
So what ratios do you use for the 3 types of upgrades? Do you like to have
So upgrades, it's really going to depend on, once you start looking at that, what are you doing with the deck? If you're looking for something that you want to add attack on it, you're looking at things that add attack, so weapons, and you're looking at maybe utilities that may have added attack or will help towards that. If you're going for a more defensive deck, you're probably going to be more armor, more utilities that are based on that. You may not throw a single weapon in there if you're trying to just turtle up the whole time. So that's going to be more the look of it. If you've got like a 2-wide deck where you have 2 character cards, or a 3-wide deck, you may not put 3 copies of a card in there, because if you've got two characters, if you've got Optimus Prime, Battlefield Legend, and Nemesis Prime, Dark Clone, and that's all your thing, especially if it's something with a green pip where you can pull it back, you don't want 3 because you're going to end up with 1 dead. So that starts to get more into the what's your aim of the deck. So how do you want to funnel that?
On a general level to start from, though, one way to think about it, how we had that ratio to kind of make sure you can play an action and an upgrade every turn? With weapons, every character has 3 upgrade slots: weapon, armor, and utility. So of the 3 types, you might want to make it so it's I don't want to necessarily always replace something when I'm playing an upgrade. So maybe have at least 1 of each type in there, just so you can keep cards coming out and keep effect stacking. But it is very much for instance, if you're running tanks with the card that can pull a bunch of armor onto your tanks, you don't want to run whole piles of armor because you want stacks of that in your KO pile or your scrap pile. And another thing to think about: there are some weapons that scrap when you use them, like grenade launcher gives a huge attack buff, but then the grenade's gone, so the weapon goes away. Sometimes if you're kind of running into a wall with keeping your deck from going overfilled, you can start to think of grenade launcher kind of like an action. You can't play it like one unless you have new designs, which is an action that lets you play an upgrade. That's a whole thing. But yeah, sometimes it's stuff like that, or those 2 double pip cards we showed you. They're both upgrades that almost nobody uses as upgrades because you'd rather flip those over. So you can kind of not think of them as upgrades in a way, because you're rarely going to use them like that. We got a question here with the hand up.
Yeah, on the force field card, we have a question about, you only take 4 hits, but the Pierce.
That does count, yeah.
Yeah.
If you take a big Pierce hit, force field, it's if you take combat damage.
So it still counts as combat damage. So Pierce goes around the blue of defense, but then force field takes a look at it and says you took 5 or more damage, stops it at 4.
So Pierce doesn't count.
Yeah, Pierce won't get around. Pierce will get you around base defense, but force field's kind of its own special thing.
But what happens if you have Grimlock's ability, the other your opponent?
So that's something they very specifically have covered in the FAQs. Grimlock's carryover damage is not considered to be attack damage because it's from an effect. I'm going off memory, but that is legit right in the FAQ they have online. They have character and card specific questions, and one of them is about Grimlock's overkill and how it interacts with force field and with Scrapnel, who has his own kind of built-in force field. So I would recommend checking that document out because they've answered a ton of stuff in there. Someone way in the back over there.
Yeah, so when a character gets KO'd, their upgrades stay on them?
No, they go straight into the scrap pile.
I couldn't find a reference to them anywhere
go in tap, and then a card would bring you out for one action. You can't. Like, you would have to have another card to untap and then act.
No, it goes in untapped because he's done. Right. Yeah. So the one addition to that in wave 2 is you can, as your transform action that you get during the turn, you can transform somebody in the KO pile.
But only as the transform action. You can't use rapid conversion or any of those cards to do it.
And and unless the card itself says when this is transformed in your KO, when it's transformed in this mode in your KO pile, do a thing.
Yeah. So basically, we're playing using ISO function.
Right.
And like, okay, so you pull them out, remove one health, and like, well, in order to do it, they have to attack.
Right. No, they come in untapped.
Cool. That's what we thought. Thank you.
No worries.
You, sir.
Yeah, sorry. So I haven't played before, so a couple questions.
No,
I'm very much like Magic the Gathering. So there's no mana that you use.
No.
No.
And then you're starting hands 3?
Yep.
You're starting hands 3. You'll draw on the first. And the part of the balance flow is first player, first turn, doesn't get to play any cards. They transform and they attack. Second player, first turn, can either play an action or play an upgrade, transform, and then attack. And then after that, every turn, you can play an action and an upgrade.
You put all your characters on the board?
Yeah.
They start on the board,
They start out on the board.
Part of the way the rules are really literal is the 25 stars thing is at the start of the battle, you can only have 25 stars on the field and in your deck. There are now characters who can bring in more stuff outside of the deck building limit, but because that's after the battle started. Also, it's important to note, you have to attack every turn. You don't have to flip or transform anybody every turn. The only enforced action each turn is an attack. Everything else is optional, and everything else that happens before the attack phase happens before the attack phase and can be done in any order, which is important because you might want to do something where it's like, I want everyone to be in robot mode to get this effect, and then I want to play this card so they all go back to alt mode and I get all these effects.
Or I may want to play the action that lets me draw 3 cards because I have nothing. Okay, that's what it is. Or there's some that if you transform, you can maybe draw a card. Or so there's a little bit of flow in how that goes, but then once you attack, that's the end of your actions. You can't attack and then play an upgrade or play an action. Yeah,
if you have like 2 untapped characters and your opponent has fully tapped characters, you have to attack with one, and then there's a check, basically. Is everyone untapped? No. Is everyone untapped on the other side of the field? No. Like, they're all tapped. You then have to attack with the rest of your characters, and then everyone untaps afterwards. So the game is designed with a very specific flow for a number of balance reasons, as we understand it, but also so it bulldozes. You know, it's a very fast-paced game.
Is there a life counter on each of the?
Yeah.
So each card, can you roll back to one of the character cards?
I can. This will take a while. Just keep talking.
Okay. So each character has 3 stats.
Remember this?
On them. Yeah. Like we just were there. Okay.
Yeah.
So which one's the laser pointer in the middle?
Yep.
So this number here is the base attack. This number here is the health. This number here is the base defense. So if Skydive was attacking into Flame War in these modes, Skydive would tap. He would roll 2 of the battle cards off the top of the deck, and then maybe more if other things happen. And then you would take all of the orange pips plus 3 versus Flame War. She has blue of 1. The defender then, hey, got tough 1, is going to roll over the 2 that are normal, and then 1 because tough 1. And then add up all the blue pips, and then add it to that. And then that minus that is how much damage happens normally.
That damage
and then
persists.
That damage persists.
Okay, so it persists.
So it carries on. So that is one of the things as you're sitting there looking at it. You may have a character that you really want to attack with, but they've got 2 health left. And as soon as you do that, they're then a valid target.
And the win con of the game is to KO the other team. So the players don't have any health count, it's all the characters. That's why it's kind of fun that like Cosmos has 21 health, because that's a lot of health to get through. Most people have somewhere between 8 to 12, sometimes a little bit higher, but Cosmos is huge.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Any other questions? We got one here at the blue.
Speaking of Cosmos, okay, so the meta's robot mode.
Yes.
So say you have 2 cards left that you on your deck. Take your deck. And Cosmos attacks.
Yeah.
Say you draw exactly 2, so let's say 4.
So as soon as your deck is empty, you shuffle.
Yeah.
Not as soon as you would draw one.
I mean, like, okay, so when you're looking at the two cards for Cosmos, and there's suddenly no more cards, did robot ability kick in?
Yes, because that is when you shuffle, is when there are no more cards left,
Okay.
not when you would need to draw a card.
Okay, I thought it meant, like, say you get one left.
Oh, like you'd need to have a recycle during it. Yeah, no, it's just the moment the recycle happens. He and Cosmos and Nemesis Prime are the only characters in the game that have effects based on your deck recycling or reshuffling. And Cosmos is just pretty rude because if you attack with him and during that attack, for any reason, your deck has to recycle, then whoever he attacks is dead. They just die on the spot. So Cosmos is literally the Grim Reaper. He has a clock with him. He can barely hurt anyone. He just has 21 health, kind of bad attack and defense. But when it's your time, Cosmos just looks you in the eye and says it's time to go. And then you just fall over, and Cosmos walks away. Nemesis Prime is actually a lot simpler. When your deck recycles and he's in robot mode, he gets a permanent +3 bonus to attack, which is pretty rude too. But then Cosmos is like, yeah, that's the loud death. I, Cosmos, am the quiet death. I am the heat death of the universe. Oh, we had a question back there.
Yes.
What's up?
There's not a lot of snapping.
Cosmos doesn't have to snap. He doesn't have to be that loud. He just has to whisper. Any other? Okay, right here.
Yeah, is there a good website that just lists locations for gatherings for the card game?
For gatherings, now what I would recommend. Oh, whoa! Do you have an answer?
So I am a moderator on specifically the Transformers TCG Los Angeles County page. So currently, right now, we have set up an announcement on the page, which should be like the first thing to see when you get it accepted to the page. And it's literally just a thread for if anybody wants to play outside of the designated times.
Yes.
Post it in it, see if you can find somebody to meet up with. That's it.
There are, last I heard, 30 to 40 some regional Facebook pages. I know there's one for Chicagoland area because I'm a little bit closer to there. But then there's also just
We're the main one.
right. But there's also one that's for all of Transformers. There's a Facebook group that's a fan page, and quite frequently there'll be somebody that's like, "Hey, are there any in South Dakota?" And then somebody else will pop up and be like, "Hey, I'm also the one person that lives in South Dakota," and then they can get together.
Is this some kind of state beef things? I never understand that.
South Dakota is just a really small, sparsely populated state.
Okay, because I've been hearing about this whole SoCal, NorCal thing, and anyway.
You're in SoCal.
But then also there's places you can go to Reddit. There's a Transformers TCG subreddit that occasionally will have threads along that line. And then also just go and find your FLGSs, your friendly local gaming stores, and talk to them and say like, hey, do you have anybody else that plays? Because odds are the people that work there are going to know. And you might have to work a little bit to find the 3 or 4 other people in your neighborhood that are still playing or that are starting to play this thing, and find out that Wednesday night's what works for everybody else, and you can start kind of building the community if it's not there already, and convince people to play this robot card game.
That's what we were doing in Toronto a whole lot. Actually, Wreck and Rule's YouTube channel has a couple great videos about community building if you're willing to put in the work yourself, because those dudes have put in the work for both Transformers and Star Wars Destiny. It's a fun YouTube channel too. They do a lot of good gameplay. But yeah, as they were saying, like if you just don't know where to start, there is a Facebook group called The Transformers Trading Card Game, which is different from the official Facebook group, which is called Transformers Trading Card Game. The one with the is the community one. There's the Reddit, TFW. We've got a TCG subforum going in there.
Have our way too.
Those are all places to go to just say, I live here and I'd like to play. Then someone will usually come in and at least direct you towards another regional group. If your FLGS lacks the F and is just an LGS, as is the case with Aaron sometimes, that's another thing you can try to put the work into, is to put the F in, as they say, and try to get at least a bunch of players together to play friendlily in the store. Even if we were trying to do that in Toronto with one of the stores. We were just getting together and playing there, hoping that, because it was close enough to all of us, that like, hey, if we keep showing up, buying sleeves and playing this game and having a good time, maybe you all will support it. And then they came out and they're like, no, we want to get some more Card Fight Vanguard instead. And we're like, all right, that's cool. We're going to go to the place that's running tournaments. Sorry. We tried. Anyway, any other questions out there? We got one here with the hat.
So in the room where they'll be doing that, odds are if you pull out cards and say, hey, I'm really looking for X and I've got Y, does anybody want to trade or at least look at it? You won't get yelled out of there.
This is the space where they're doing the open, like any of this stuff should be a completely fine space to also sit down, do some trading. I'm going to be trying to do that because I need 3 of the super rares from Wave 2, and I have plenty of rares from Wave 2 and Wave 1, and I have super rare Bumblebee from Wave 1. I'm looking for Windblade, Starscream, and Blitzwing, just putting it out there. I'm using this platform.
Nemesis Prime?
Right here.
Also, another place to ask about trading is the TCG Beginner's Guide panel. It's usually people who are interested in the game, and they'll be able to help you out with getting all that stuff going. Any other questions out there? We've got one over here.
Out of curiosity, we're done with the trading for the hot rubber deck that you guys provide us.
So I'm not sure exactly what all he has. I know that he's got a bunch of boosters and that he brought some of the pre-made decks. So there's currently the Autobot pre-made deck and the Metroplex pre-made deck that are out there now. Both of those, the Metroplex deck is an interesting deck to play that is kind of its own thing. The Autobot starter set that you buy for 15 or 20, I can't remember the price off the top of my head, it's the good bones to something else. If you buy that and you play a couple of the sealed events, you're going to have a decent pool of cards that you could start putting together something that's your own.
Yeah, the starter deck is, like you said, it's a good core. It's just a whole bunch of 2-ofs of useful cards for the most part. But as a standalone deck, it's not as strong as the Metroplex Precon deck, the pre-constructed deck. That one is actually able to do pretty well on its own. The starter set is half built as a deck, half built as a deck for 2 people to share, which personally I don't think communicates the game very well. It makes things feel a little bit too random. The Metroplex thing is kind of, if you haven't played it, Metroplex, he's your only character at the start, but every time he flips from robot mode to city mode, one of his 3 buddies fires out of his body and then enters the battlefield. We got one in the back first and then one over here. Unicron and Primus, we are theorizing, will be a pair of playmats that you can flip over. Because Metroplex and Omega Supreme are already very large cards. It's not that big. It's not that big. That's 8.5 by 11. Those are the Metroplex and Omega Supreme cards. The combiners are 5 normal cards put together. So they're already bigger than Metroplex and Omega Supreme. So yeah, when they do Unicron and Primus, we're pretty sure it's just going to be playmats.
Maybe tables that you have to just flip. We don't know.
We're encouraging them to do concrete slabs with like street art done on them, so that when you flip it over, you also end the game because you've just crushed your opponent physically with a concrete slab. Like if you're strong enough to flip that over, you deserve to win.
That is a great win con, though.
Yeah, it's like what do they call it? 7-second sun control in MTG. It's exactly like that. We have one over here.
So Metroplex isn't like is it like a themed deck? Like with Magic the Gathering, you have like face the
it's straight up. It's a unique mechanic so far, but it's also one that conveniently seems to work just like if there was a character in the franchise, say, who shot little friends out of his chest. It works very similar to that.
Okay, so there's no special rule. It's like, if you go to this tournament, you can't play.
Oh no, they're fine because Metroplex has inherent limiters. When you play a 1-character deck, that means that say you go first, you attack one of their guys. Now their whole team gets to attack you in return. That's why Metroplex, for instance, in his robot mode, he has an ability, which you call his ult, kind of like an Overwatch. If you flip 2 orange pips, 2 blue pips, and 2 white pips all at the same time when he attacks, the other team gets tapped, and they all take 1 damage. So it's kind of like, hey, maybe build your deck to try to do that often, which is really fun to do. It's total like swingy jank, but in the best way, because when it happens, you feel like a superhero in a card game where you flip cards over. We got one over here. What's that? Ringing.
Are any of the rare cards outlawed yet?
Nope.
No, it's all fair game.
Yeah, there's no ban list. What's that feedback? Put this over here. There's no ban list. There's no ban list. There's no restriction list either, and they currently have no plans to put rotation in yet because there's no OP. There's no organized play. I'm hiding from the feedback ring. So yeah, play whatever you like. The only limits are 3 ofs. That's really your limit, and the 25-star thing. Any other questions out there about cards? About over here.
Sorry if I missed this, I've never played the game, but I see all these cards are like absolutely enormous, and they seem like that'd be really fun to collect. But like, is there not supposed to be some value to keeping what's in your hand for your opponent?
So the character cards never get shuffled; they start on the field, and then you have a deck of blank-backed cards that are your actual shuffling deck that interact with them. Basically, when they designed the game, they decided early on. Do we need to have the characters be in the shuffling deck or not? And when they decided not to, they're like, all right, let's make them enormous. Yeah, it's really fun, especially with taking a Metroplex or an Omega Supreme. When you flip that card over, you go you slam that on the table. It's an alternate win con. If your opponent doesn't have good sleeves and all their cards blow off the table, you win. It's simple. That's why you can't flip combiners over, because it would be unbalanced. Also, you'd have to be able to flip 5 cards at the same time. It's already kind of a test to tap the whole thing sideways, like with all your fingers outstretched. Right here with the hat.
So are you saying that the game can be fun?
Yes. The Transformers TCG has some great social media, and at one point on their Facebook page, my favorite story, someone left a lengthy comment saying, why is this Metroplex card so large? That's incredibly stupid. You can't store the thing easily. This is just a gimmick. Why would you make the card so oversized? To which the official Facebook group replied with a GIF that was the word fun with a big flashing, airy sparkle behind it. And I don't think the guy replied, but I can't remember. Anyway, we still got a little bit of time. If there are any card questions, any life questions, any Transformers questions, any questions about the nature of how your chairs were made, we can give an educated guess. Yes?
Do you know how the chairs are made?
No. I don't know how the chairs were made. They were made using mana.
They're square, probably aluminum, so you've got some sort of bending operations or welding.
Yeah, but is the soft bit glued on or is it nailed on?
I'd have to flip one over. It's probably
don't flip a chair over, you animal! Don't. Oh, jeez.
Yeah, no. There's screws in there.
Okay. Hey, that's actually not bad. I thought it was going to be chintzier. There's a whole lot more going on. I was thinking it was just going to be giant, paper clips kind of things, like on all those chairs you see in SoCal. I don't know.
Yeah.
Over here with your hand up. We don't know.
Everything that Wizards has said so far is no.
Yeah, that Lunar Bumblebee is basically a bad character card who's unique, who is to celebrate them doing a simplified Chinese language edition. And I'm very pro the promo cards not necessarily being great, because it means if you want to chase them down, you're chasing them down to own them, and that's literally it. Otherwise, they'd be gating off really powerful cards in these promo conditions. Omega Supreme was All-out attack is not as great as it sounds. Having used it. Oh, Slipstream. So I don't yell about it very much, but I like Slipstream. She makes Wave 1 jets very viable, but I don't think she makes them. She's not the linchpin to Wave 1 jets. She's basically, when you run her, you're using more of the jet cards as the focus. When you replace her with Thundercracker, you're making a Thundercracker deck that uses the jet cards as a support.
It's a different deck.
Yeah, it's a different deck, but it's kind of like she limits, her being hard to get is limiting a deck type as of Wave 1, but I don't know. It's not like it's a deck type that if only I had access to this, I would beat all the other decks out there. It's still kind of, it's not amazing, and the other 3 cards in that pack are not game-breaking. All Out Attack is a nice one-of in certain situations. Tandem Targeting System, as of the Wave 2 cards that do its mechanic better, is kind of eh. And Cliff Jumper's every time I ask someone why they're using Cliff Jumper, what the plan is, they're like, I have cars and he's this many stars. And I'm kind of oh, okay.
I just wanted to share a quick related story. I was at Comic-Con last year. I went to the Hasbro booth. I bought Transformers. And it was $15 for a card pack. Who needs that? Okay,
before his, I had one, thanks to Aaron, and I thought maybe I should get 2 more to have play sets, and then they were $30 a pack on eBay, and I was like, that's ridiculous. This market's the bottom's gonna fall out of this market like a cork falling up out of a wine bottle. Who needs any of this stuff? Ha! And now they're $300 a pack. And Aaron could have had a whole bunch of them.
Yeah, I could have not muled a bunch of those and been making mortgage payments.
I still say, okay, mortgage payments at $300 installments twice.
Yeah.
That's $600.
I live in a place that's cheap to live. 3 of those packs is 2 months rent very easily.
But what happens after those 2 months? Do you have a tree that's growing the convention packs? That's not sustainable.
That's pay it forward. It's life stuff.
By the way, in case you're spooked by that, every time the Wizards guys are asked about those cards, I take the tone of their response as, we're not super into this. I don't think something with 4 unique cards is likely to be like, it's not like every SDCC. What are the 4 unique cards you can maybe get once? Like, I'll be surprised if that happens again.
Yeah, I definitely, the tone that I've heard is like, that took off in a different way than was expected, and this is maybe doing better than a lot of initial projections were. And those 2 things came together and shot the price of that up high, and anything they do in the future will probably be adjusted to that. But
yeah. The nice thing about this game is with the lack of organized play, any of the market fluctuations are kind of like, they're frustrating at best or point and laugh at silver lining best, because it's like, okay, these cards are getting expensive so that you can win casual night. Or often so you can win more packs. You know, like it's not like this, I don't know. This is a bit of a tangent, but we have some time. I got into Magic last year, and I liked playing it, but I'm very outside of the culture of it, and I got frustrated with how often it felt like, and that's where my whole thing about like the difference between playing it kind of as a spike versus wanting to be a spike is when people see a new game, and within a week they're like, well, the game's fun, but there's no prize support, so I don't want to play it. And I'm kind of like, well, isn't the purpose of the game to be played and have fun? And they have no prize support. And I talked to a store owner about it, and I'm like, is it regular for like players of a game to only be interested if they can then profit from playing it? And he's like, yeah, it's called estimated value, EV or whatever. And I'm like, that sounds ludicrous to me, the outside layman newbie. And he's like, that's great to hear, because it's not how it sounds to most everyone else. So I'm very pro just play the game, but that's just
maybe you got time for 1 or 2 more if they're real quick.
Do
we want to go right or left? Rock, paper, scissors.
If they're both quick, let's do both.
Okay.
You guys seem to have a little bit of insider knowledge. Do you think they're ever going to do Beast Wars cards? Or
everything they've said has been, they're looking at generations right now. So probably not.
There's Beast characters and generations.
Yeah.
Right, but it's not a theme of the whole life.
No.
It's not.
Do you think we're ever going to get Shattered Glass?
Did they have artwork in Transformers Legends?
Hey, they're doing original art.
They are doing original art.
They are doing original art.
But also Legends has to show up still.
Again, I would say I would probably go with the same thing as before of they're going for generations. The other thing that makes it difficult is Shattered Glass isn't necessarily entirely Hasbro's.
I'm actually curious about that as of the Flames toys, Shattered Glass Drift.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think that there may be small pinholes through it, but I could see it being an issue of like, we have a whole line that's this, and somebody else comes along later and says, oh yeah, and that's our idea.
I think I fixed the feedback sound also, so yeah, congratulations, Chris. Good job. You don't have to do that. I was doing that ironically. Now it's just getting cruel. Now you're clapping to make fun of me. Oh no.
I like you people.
So
the more that can be made fun of Chris, the better.
So I think that's our TCG panel. We got to quickly do setup for the next panel, which is the podcast roundtable round 1 panel. That's the this was the pre-show opening ceremony. Now it's time for the pre-show opening ceremony panel. Yes, to the man with the mesh shirt.
He's excited to be here.
He's supposed to be coming up here for the podcast panel, so you can ask him some questions later on in about 20, 30 minutes. So, yeah, we're setting up for that. So it's a little bit of a break. If you got to, I don't know what you got to do.
Smoke 'em if you got them, that's the phrase, right?
If any of y'all can do backflips, actually don't, because if you injure yourself, I'm probably liable. So don't do backflips. Podcasters, please come up here too. If y'all are.
I think the podcast panel is actually now, right?
Is it technically now?
Yeah.
All right. No, we have it's 7. It's only 7 o'clock, so it's like when you're born, you're not 1, you're 0. So it's minute 0 of the podcast panel. So just run on up here. Hi, what's up? No podcast. Yeah.
I'm Joe.
Oh, yeah, excellent. Okay. Seth, hey,
Okay.
yep.
from white cards.
Excellent. I think this is us. Unless Yoshi's around.
I'm trying to find ways to repurpose
Oh, hey, not bad.
Because that was actually the one.
Don't look at the projector. You're standing. Don't look at it. Come over here.
So my Cooper was literally full.
How you doing? I'm all right. I'm all right. I just gotta. We don't need the projector anymore, so I'm gonna DHDMI.
You want me to push it over?
Push what over?
Push the projector over.
Oh no, it's all right. I got it. Yeah.
I heard.
Thank you.
So apparently.
Thank you.
So apparently, I heard. Apparently, the nostalgia shake is supposed to be coming here.
Oh,
I heard too. I was like, oh hey. I didn't know what it is. Apparently, someone from Game Grumps is supposed to be also coming.
that makes sense. It's LA, right? All those people live in like one condo. I can see the chat again. We're gonna keep this running. This is now the podcast panel, but this is gonna keep running because it's working. Did you all talk about anything? All right, nerds, good. Thank you, Aaron Archer.
I was trying to be disruptive in the chat before we came.
Oh, I didn't have the chat on. I'm sorry. So, Aaron, are you all right sitting down on this one? Okay.
I was going that way because
Seth, you're not allowed to sit next to me because we're on the same show.
Just tell me where to sit.
Send any of those. We only got like 2 or 3 other people. Oh, there we have 2 other people. So come over here. All right, we got it. Let's pull this inwards a little bit.
Do you need any help?
Oh no, let's not pull that inwards a little bit.
Chris, you realize that there are 2 more tables down the far end too, right?
Yeah, but so 2 people sitting over there and 2 of us sitting over here.
I don't know.
Yeah. Oh no, I'm good. Thank you.
So your library.
Yeah.
I feel like a read.
That's right.
I don't know if that was surprise message. I'm
So,
going to stand on top of it.
I'm so happy that they have. I'm happy they announced the logo, especially now. Not part of the
Yeah, it never was. Like I never. That was Lorenzo Bonaventura.
I was hoping it was going to be a reboot.
Being in a bucket.
I knew that. I was hoping it was going to be a reboot. I was praying, hoping. Also, I'm pretty sure. I feel like that. Right now, I feel like everyone's just like looking at you and they're like, "Who's he talking to?" Like,
No one responded when I said fart.
oh, just right. And now for something totally different.
But I don't even remember. We're going to be back for
Oh,
sure.
also,
and meet up
I
with
brought,
you, and you have your number and
I brought my
everything.
Transformers
So we're going to see.
anime
I don't want to
volume
yell at
2.
you, but I want to.
I had your.
Oh yeah, the picture in it.
Yes.
At the beginning.
I brought that with me. I was thinking of going.
Have
Yeah.
fun.
That's what I'm going to do.
Oh no worries, I'm around the whole weekend.
Yeah, have fun. We're going to have fun. We're going to do that. So please don't get upset when we walk out and like.
You want to warn or anything?
Oh no, I'm good. We got to get ready.
All right.
Also,
like basically.
I brought with me Cards Against Humanity. I brought Cards Against Humanity with me for maybe for like later on. Maybe like
I'm
Saturday.
probably not done. So I'm going to be doing the TCG the whole time.
On Saturday.
Yeah, like this is basically the only thing I really want to get my head into. Yeah, likewise. What's it doing? Paste. Hey, how's it going?
Yeah, room for another podcast?
Yeah.
Because everybody's facing this way, so you don't have microphones. So the people in the back are like, well, they talking about they kind of have an extrapolate from what you're seeing.
Well, for this one, we will for sure. For the TCG one, we were just running kind of fast
No, I
paced.
understand.
Yeah.
You just sense how it's new.
What's that?
You just sense how it's new. Are you? I mean, this is like the second time.
Okay. I don't want to discard the tweet. I just wrote it. Okay. Yeah. Hang on. I gotta get my little list out here, so I can remember what everyone's doing. Oh, by the way, welcome to the room. This is where the podcast roundtable panel is going to be happening, which is right before the opening ceremonies. But they're all exciting, and after the opening ceremonies is also going to be the Five Faces of Darkness Flint Dilly commentary, which is apparently quite funny. So let's get the word out there. While I'm also covering for time while I get my Google Doc up where I write down everyone's names. I forgot to do that. What's going on? Actually, I'm going to do introductions at the start. I don't need to do this, but yeah, grab a.
Do you want me to spell my name for you so you get
When I ask you, I will, but I'm not ready yet.
Okay.
I'm not.
I can spell it for you.
I'm not ready yet.
I spelled it.
Why? Okay. Y'all good? Actually, hang on a sec. I'm going to turn this a bit more. Oh, I'm going to bring this so we can share it. Make sure, yeah, we got to talk into these things for the sake of their thing. And you're going to pull your chair back a little bit. I'm going to pull my chair sideways a little bit. I want us all to be able to see each other. This is a particular thing for me. We've done podcast panels, and originally everyone sat in a row, and it meant that, for instance, I would never see you. And so this way we can all feel more interconnected.
This very much sounds like a personal problem, Chris.
It is, but I'm projecting it on everyone else.
Are you live streaming this one too?
Yeah. Participate in the chat while we're.
I'm running. I'm doing it.
There's a live stream and a chat
on my
of myself.
Yeah.
I got a text like right into.
All right, I'll get us going here. Welcome now, even though most of you were already in the room, welcome again to the Transformers Podcast or Roundtable. This is the short one before the opening ceremonies. There will also be a longer one with a few more people probably right after the closing ceremonies on Sunday. If you don't want to admit the convention is over, like we don't like to, we hang out for about an hour and a half and talk about how things went, and we shout a lot, and sometimes there's prizes, but I don't know if I organized any or if anyone else did. So we'll sort it out on Sunday. That's kind of how we roll. But to start things off, welcome. My name's Chris. I'm the main host and editor of WTF and TFW, which is the TFW 2005 podcast. It's a whole lot of syllables. Over here to my left is...
Hi, I'm _Zeus. I'm the guy who thinks that being the same age as Bionicle makes me an old man. And I'm here from Steel City Bots.
And then next to him to his left from Gamepads Unplugged.
Oh, yes. I'm Seth Buzzard, also from WTF. I'm the one who tries to get it off topic as much as possible. You're a takeaway.
And he's pretty good at it. We've kind of we've synergized that power into a lot of what we do, which I almost started doing right now. But instead, continuing the introductions.
And I'm Josh from the Figure Nights Theater podcast. We talk about toys mostly, and I talk about how much I love Bayformer stuff and Transformers Energon.
Where are the other Steel City guys who were all like you grew up on? Oh, never mind.
Oh, you're asking where everyone else is.
Yeah.
See, they decided that instead of going to the U.S. convention, they would all just leave me here as the also-run representative. They're all going to Toronto.
That's, you know what? That means you're even more cool for coming to this one.
That's good to know.
But also, I kind of miss them.
Yeah, thanks for making me feel like I'm very much valued here.
You are. Everyone is valuable in their own way, especially at the end of the table we've got.
Hey, this is Nate Simmons. I run three Facebook groups like Transformers, as well as I run YouTube channel talking about toys, comics, and music. We do it every week, so come on out and check it out.
All right, and what is it called?
It's called The Syndicate.
The Syndicate.
So I run the Syndicate Facebook group, as well as I run so we do a couple of different things here and there. Really.
All right. Well, because the convention hasn't happened yet, it's very difficult for me to ask everyone how the convention went for them. But I guess I'll say, for all of you, how's the convention been so far? Who got some hot dealer room deals?
Oh, yeah. I did.
How? What?
I know. Well,
that means you're an admitted trespasser and criminal.
Or a time traveler.
Well, it wasn't,
or time traveler.
Yeah, it wasn't completely in the dealer room. It was in the registration line. But,
what?
Andrew Floating Cat on Twitter was extremely generous. And he just rolled up on me and gave me Transformers. So I
I don't know where he pulled that from.
I'm unboxing.
What?
got Siege Optimus Prime and Siege Megatron. What? So thank you again, Andrew. It was very generous.
So that's a TFcon haul at minute -50?
I was walking out of the registration line and he was walking into the registration line.
Man.
Oh, two things real quick. Does it count if I spent $60 at City Walk on Beast boxes?
They turn into boxes, so it does count.
All right. And second, I have a friend, Miguel from Steel City Box, who says they all miss you too.
Oh, how'd they tell you that already?
They're watching the live stream, Chris.
How did you? I have a blank Google Doc open right now that I didn't write anything in. How?
He's texting me, and I have my watch. So,
friggin' future we live in. He's texting me, and I have my watch. That's how I know what he's telling me in the last 15 seconds. Anyway,
I could just say magic. Would you rather it be magic?
Yeah, or at least a Dick Tracy watch. Those were cool. Thank you.
You saying my watch isn't cool?
I'm just saying it's not a Dick Tracy watch. Your watch is cool. I snapped at you. I'm sorry.
Yes, you did seem very upset.
Chris is just mad because Chris doesn't have a watch.
It's true. I don't like the feeling of things gripping my body.
Why are you
in general? Because of society. If I didn't have to, that's getting a little personal.
You could get a pocket.
Yeah. A pocket. Well, I have a pocket watch, but then I forgot to use it for a year and a half, and then when I found it again, the battery was dead, and that's too much work. So it's just in a drawer now. It makes me look like I'm learned because I'm like, I remember that watch. Oh, stories. Since the show hasn't happened yet for most of us, we'll just pretend it hasn't happened for any of us, even though some of us got calls already. I want to go about what we're looking forward to at this show, since that's a pertinent topic. Personally, I'm looking forward to the TCG playing, because there was recently a panel in here about beginner TCG play that I thought was really well done, to be honest. And I'm really down to play some of that TCG. I'm hyped. That's my big hype for this one.
Wow, you're just putting me on the spot. I haven't had time to think of this at all. I'm just kind of looking forward to seeing some people that I know through the Twitter sphere, and getting some of the exclusives. That Delta Mantis looks great.
Has anyone seen it in person yet? Is it floating around anywhere? Yeah. Oh. Wait, you have a haul. Oh man, this is the problem with Steve was sitting on the other end of the table, is even though we try to beef in it, I'm like, I still can't quite see him. And so I did not know he had a haul. Seth's haul was free, and I do like Andrew Fotigan a whole lot. He's a lovely guy, but that's valid too. How are the colors?
They're really good. I like it. I haven't opened the box yet, but I looked at the screen there. I got that as well. It's awesome.
All right.
My haul has a pink raptor, so there's that.
Hang on, I'll hold that up. This is by a company, the line's called Beast Box. This is a one-man design team who makes things that turn into boxes. And they're really cool. They all transform differently into boxes. And now he's got licenses. So he's done an alien xenomorph that turns into a box, and a power loader, and an alien queen. He's about to have an Iron Man come out from Infinity War that turns into a box. Everything turns into boxes. They're very cool toys.
Triceratops box.
That Triceratops turns into a box. A Tricerabox. There's also recently out 4 penguins that turn into a box.
And then there's another bird that turns into a box.
There's also a bird. That's that thing we were talking about like 2 weeks ago.
That's that movie that everyone was obsessed with,
right?
For like a week.
This is cycling back. I don't want to linger too long yet, but I want to come back to your boxes because I have thoughts about these.
Absolutely.
Seth, what are you looking forward to at the show?
I always forget the names of some of these third-party figures. Huffers on this one.
The little one?
The big bed, yeah.
The Magic Square?
I'm gonna look for that one. Magic Square Huffer.
Yeah. I don't remember his third-party name because there's like 500 Huffers. I think he's called Strongman.
Probably. I'm also looking forward to my voice not being worse.
Yeah, Seth's voice is haggard today. Mine was a little bit this morning. I had the thing where it feels like you snored hard enough to punch yourself in the throat. Right, y'all know about that. Yeah. Well, that's how I kind of woke up this morning. That was difficult. Anyway, things we're looking forward to heading on down the line.
Evangelist, I'm looking forward to hearing about those excellent still lifes you shared while in the air thing.
Oh boy, howdy! Let me go pull those up. I'm really happy about this. I'll just go to my...
I can't remember the last time I've heard the phrase "boy howdy" used in the sentence.
You don't talk to me enough.
Well, it's just you don't talk to me.
It's true. Listen, I manufacture my own problems, but I was stuck on the tarmac for like 90 minutes, so I started taking photos of my own timeline and drawing on them. Like, oh wait, I can just jack back in, can't I?
There is a projector, Chris.
I threw the cable somewhere.
You thought you didn't need the projector anymore.
Yeah. Oh, thank you so much. I love our tech team,
Congratulations.
especially the honorary members. This is going to be a great one to pop up on, too. It's going to go fantastic. Yep, here we go. Suddenly, they reminded me of something I should show. I didn't think of it earlier.
Okay.
All right. Oh, no, it didn't work. Well, okay, basically, I took a screenshot of my Twitter timeline, and my battery was at 69%, so I wrote the word nice with my finger and a big arrow pointing at it.
Highest form of comedy here.
So I'll just narrate you through these, really. Like, that's the best way I can do it. It's going to make it even better. Because I said, oh, no, and shared that picture, and then I took a picture of oh, no, and I wrote the word fart with an exclamation point next to it.
High comedy.
And then I saw a green
artist of our time.
They had a green cross, on the medical thing because I was in an exit row seat. So I drew a number pointing at it, and I said 420, and I had my hand in there doing this, and I wrote "Hey."
It kind of, if you didn't see the Y, you just think it looked like you were screaming.
Well, and then I took a photo of my own tweet that said, "Who needs flights? I can draw photos and be hilarious," and I wrote the word "poo" next to it. And then I took a photo of that and said "EG," and then a photo of that tweet that said "EG poo," and I wrote "bum" on top of it. And then TJ Omega, who's also on our podcast, said, "There's a gas leak on your plane, isn't there?" So I put an arrow pointing at leak, and I wrote the word "we," and then I underlined the word gas, and I wrote "fart." And those are my still lifes. Thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah, well.
Don't feel free to bring that up if you're at any other panels. I'm happy to share this again.
You're just going to be in the audience. You just run up here with your computer.
Yeah, I'm all set. Moving on to the end of the line, things you're looking forward to at TFcon, aside from like all the things you got.
I have a question, sir.
Yeah.
About the slideshow.
Yes.
Did you unplug your laptop?
I did, and then I just plugged it back in.
Okay, but it's not connecting. Is that what's happening?
Yeah.
Okay.
Unless it's about to. No.
You sounded like you maybe had an answer to the problem. Do you know anything about this?
Yeah, it's okay.
I'll try to fix it though.
Yeah, no worries, because basically if it gets fixed, you'll all suddenly see the word poo on the projector.
Guaranteed last minute of the panel, that's just going to show up.
It's going to be really worth it, all this build-up. Anyway, sorry about the interruption here.
No worries. I'm just looking forward to the new reveals after tomorrow and the third-party panel.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to see the combiner. It'd be nice if we actually see the actual combiner on Fed.
The number of people doing Metasaurs who have danced around what it looks like is like, listen, I mean, it's going to be fine. I say that, although I found a lot of that, I thought the thing turned itself off. A lot of that buying community tends to react to resins as though they're production. I was just talking to someone about that earlier. Back in the day, there was some videos that we'd done of like the resin Feral Rex guys, where we're like, these are resin. I'm going to handle these resin prototypes. They're unfinished resin. And then one of the comments I got was like, oh, the joints look kind of loose. And I was like, well, I don't know what else to do to help with that.
The reason why they call pre-production
I stopped doing reviews of pre-production things and made a whole thing called prototype playtime where I say this is not a review at the beginning. And I still get like a nice review, but they look a little bit loose. These joints on that production copy.
People don't listen.
You know what? Technically it's not anyone's responsibility to like know the production cycle, but like I think production cycle is really cool. I wish it was easier to present without basically threatening pre-order numbers, as it appears to. But yeah, hopefully actually that reminds me. I wanted to give a little shout out because usual third-party panel amigos Ryan and Ian are not here, so third-party panel is going to be handled by a fellow named Matt. And he is a really darn good presenter. And if y'all are going to see that panel, please take a second to tell him that he's doing a good job. Unless he completely bunks it, in which case, don't lie. We're also identifying things going on with the projector. That was part of my goal. I'm like the secret shopper, and I'm the one who walks in and is like, I would just like to buy that copy of Earthworm Jim. They're like, oh, no, I would like the show model copy, please. Also, I'd like to trade in this Nintendo Entertainment System for the game. And then see if they do everything correctly. I know a guy who works at GameStop. So yeah, we know what we're looking forward to at the show. We're still on schedule, according to my Google Doc. So What's up?
I'd just like to point out, I'm pretty sure that Google Doc is still empty.
Yeah, who's going to prove it?
The projector once it's on again.
No. You can see right here what they're going to see when
yes, but it's
turns
very
on.
much within reach. It wouldn't be too hard for me to
Listen,
reach over. And
I don't call everything. And sometimes I have Google Docs called Untitled Document. You can't prove anything. We have a lot of guests here this year. One might say a highlight of this year is the sheer number of people you get to meet who have worked in, on, or around Transformers. Do any of you all have like an individual you're kind of looking forward to at least like seeing at a distance?
Derek J. Wyatt.
Derek J. Wyatt.
Animated was the show I grew up with, so.
Okay, so I'm kind of hyped about this too, because I like Animated a lot.
It's the best Transformer show, and if you disagree with me, I'm gonna run away real fast after this panel, so you can't fight me.
I'm not taking a side in that part, but
He is right.
yeah. I have a question I want to ask in the next Q&A, and I don't know if I should say it here, but I'm kind of hyped for that Q&A. I haven't seen Derek in like 500 years either.
Is the question, do you still love us?
Basically. No, it's going to be about the fact that that show's very old and that some of the people who grew up watching it now are entering their early 20s.
I know exactly what that question is because I'm pretty sure I saw you tweet it.
Possibly. No spoilers.
Or just check his Twitter for spoilers.
Do that, for sure. Then you can see my still lifes. Seth, are you looking forward to seeing any folks around here?
I always had good interactions with Paul, I think, and past shows. So I'd like to say hi to Paul.
Yeah.
He was always cool with us, and always down to hang out and record once we followed him.
Yeah. Yeah, he's staggeringly friendly. If you've never met, like, everyone generally is quite friendly, but like Paul Eiding and Greg Berger specifically are like dripping with friendly. They leave a trail of friendly behind them. Like you become friendlier just standing next to them. They're really cool folks. And a lot of these guests though are like first timers as well. I love watching Transformers actors like at their first show where, especially like, if they weren't playing like one of those like, 6 or 7 lead parts, the realization on their face that their work like still mattered to so many people for so long is always really, I find, like a positive experience to spectate.
The guy I play D&D with, his ringtone on his phone was the Colonel from Metal Gear going, Snake, Snake, and his phone went off right again. I'm like, I know that guy. He's like, what? I'm like, yeah, that guy. I know that guy. I got his phone number. He's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, yeah, that's that voice. I know that guy.
He's like, can I talk to him? Like, no.
No. When he gave me the phone number, it was like, I'm not going to regret giving you his number. I want to use.
That doesn't say who.
I'm
Well,
very
he's
disappointed.
If you want it. It's up to you. I'm leaving that up to the AV team. These are some of those guests, though. Eric Siegenhaler, too. I haven't seen him in a million years.
No.
I'm hyperbolizing those years.
Last time we saw Eric was when they were switching over to Star Wars.
Yeah, and
he
when
was going to work on those tiny little rubber Star Wars guys.
Remember when we lost Greg Lombardo to Play-Doh?
Yes.
That was still, I think, the saddest day. Greg Lombardo was cool. I don't know if any of you remember him. He was a guy who was on the Transformers team for a while, and he was a very large dude, like just big dude. He fills out his suit well, and he was the guy who first ever time that the threat got carried out, don't take photos during the Hasbro panel. I remember I saw him, and he went into bouncer mode. It's dead silence. Didn't stop the panel. Just quietly went to bouncer mode. I think the problem is you. The problem's always me. And he just marched up to this dude. Just went like, and the dude just like put the camera down. Greg just took the camera, gave the camera back to him. Like, it was good times. He's not
doing that at Play-Doh.
Yeah, he's getting on all the Play-Doh NDAs. We say that, but like,
you can see him this year at HasCon. Oh no, never mind.
It's TBA. It's indefinitely on hiatus. That's all. Anyway, folks, guests that you might be excited for.
I'm particularly excited because I haven't met her yet to meet Margaret Scott. I've loved everything she's done with Windblade and Tavalar 1, and she's been someone I've been anxious to see at a convention. So the fact that she's been announced this year is very exciting to me.
I brought specifically comic books for her to sign. I finally broke that barrier the other year, thanks to Sarah Petrie-Beer. She gave me some coaching on how to get artists to sign books when I said, how do I get you to sign these books? And she walked me through the process a little bit.
What is the process?
So I'm still not sure because I don't have Daryl around. He's a guy from Transmissions, another podcast, who brings about 800 books with him to every convention and then doles them out to artists in Artist Alley at like a rate of 7 to 10 books per day, hoping they don't recognize them. And usually I just feel okay about doing it because I'm like, well, at least I'm not Daryl. But now what if I'm Daryl at this show? I have 3 comic books I want to get signed by Daryl.
Oh no, 3? That's almost 20.
Like, the way my brain works is I'm going to put the comic books down, and then she's going to just, like, step over her table and punch me in the face. Where I was told this actually won't happen. Yeah.
And the moral support, Chris?
No, because then they're going to be like, why are you bringing a gang to my table? And then she's going to, like, whip out her gang, and we're going to get beat up. Full confidence. Let's bump the mic down over the end of the table.
Glad to see Jack Angel back. Haven't seen him in years. Not only Brits, that, of course, I can shoot on. Hey, my wife loves shooting, so that is awesome.
Yeah. No, there's also going to be huge Q&A panels, which I assume is why there's like some other table over there. We were briefly, we weren't, I was, because someone said, why is this table over here? And I was like, wouldn't it be funny if like 2 people had to sit over there and the rest of us are over here and we're just like screaming at each other across the way? Which is weird because there's microphones. Like, we don't have to do that.
So what you're saying is you would have been screaming at us, and we would have been very confused because there's a microphone right in front of you.
I don't scream at people! By the way, these are some more of those. These turn into boxes. It's a Triceratops and an elephant mammoth. Mammoth box. A mammoth box.
The sequel to the box.
All right, that's better than mine. Check out these Beast Box toys if you get a chance.
If anyone wants to get some in hand, like instead of ordering them, they are at Things from Another World on City Walk. That's where I got all of these. I'm not plugging them. I just want to say.
That reminds me. I had a question I was going to ask on this panel. This is important to the area. I had this question, and Seth didn't have an answer because he's from a different state called like North California. So
the inferior California.
Oh no! Do you know what? Okay, this is serious. I didn't realize I sat the 2 different Californias next to each other. So there is a divide in the table, so we can keep things civil. But because you had an opinion on it, I want to ask. I didn't actually catch it because I was like walking home. Is Blaze Pizza any good?
I mean, I work there, so I feel like I have to say yes.
Okay, but let's just say that. Okay, the microphone's off. Is Blaze Pizza any good? Okay, all right. Microphone's back on. Any other locals in the area who have any opinions on Blaze Pizza? Because, like, all right, we got pro Blaze Pizza. Okay, all right. Because I looked in there and I thought that's real crowded for a fast pizza place. But then you told me it's because it was 3.14 day.
High day, yeah. They were selling pizzas for $3.14.
Is it because it was March 14th?
How did you guess that?
Well, I was sitting here going like, how would you arrive on 3.14 every week? But I guess they only do it once a year. That makes sense for sale. Okay.
Yeah, it sounds great in concept, but when you work there, it's I'm going to just say
microphone's off. Microphone's off.
It's a bit of a nightmare because it's crowded and you have to keep like putting out dough.
If only all those customers would stop coming in on 3.14 day.
If only all those people who wanted food stopped wanting food.
Yeah, it's their fault. I'm going to turn the mic back on. We've been trying a lot of food, actually. Seth took me to Jack in the Box for the first time to get the full cultural experience.
I was going to ask who had better tacos, Jack in the Box or Del Taco.
Del Taco.
Or the duck tacos here.
I haven't had them yet.
Oh.
They're probably better. I just went to Del Taco for lunch before this thing.
I feel very sorry for you.
Oh, don't feel sorry. I feel great. I don't know what it says about my biology, but I had a midnight munchie box at Jack in the Box. And I had the Sriracha Curly Fries burger.
How are you not dead right now?
I actually feel better today than I did yesterday. And also, my butt doesn't hurt. Everything burned clean.
If there are any scientists in here, anyone who represents science, please study this, man, because this sounds impossible.
See, everyone's coming at me, and I'm like, finally, this is what the X-Men felt like. You know, like everyone's coming at me going like, we're going to create robots to hunt down people like you who can eat Jack in the Box.
So eating Jack in the Box is your power?
Yeah, I can eat Jack in the Box Midnight Munchies. And
I need to know now. Everyone on this panel, what's your X-Men power?
I just wanted him to eat the taco. So then he went for the munchie meal, and I was like, you don't have to die. The weird tacos are good enough.
So your power is coercion.
No,
inadvertent coercion.
Also off topic.
Off topic has a power.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's not. This is a topic. This is fine. This is on topic to the show because they're just down the street.
My power is peer pressuring people into buying stuff. Like my friend Dan, who I'm not sure if he's still here or if he left to go get his.
Dan! Okay, he's not here.
We were at City Walk. He was looking at the pink Dio, thinking, "Do I need to get this?" And I just said, "I mean, sure, if you want it." And he just immediately grabbed it off the shelf.
Yeah, it's not bad because every time you make them spend money, your lifespan gets longer. I know from experience.
I am an enabler. That's my X-Men power.
Yeah, enabler vampires. I mean, if you have actually, I really want to know if they're real. If you have superpowers, just professional interest.
I am a ninja.
That's pretty.
Somehow, I don't know how, I have this ability to just walk around and no one knows I'm there until I open my mouth and say a thing. Like, oh my gosh.
Oh, I do that. I do that too. Maybe our powers are connected.
You could probably rob a bank. I mean, I shouldn't say it on mic. You could probably rob a bank with those powers.
Yeah, I get the people to. I convince people, hey, maybe walk away from the vault. Oh, sorry, mic off. I convince them, maybe walk away from the vault, and then he just walks into the vault.
Yeah,
gets all the money, gets out. Problem solved. Okay,
mic's back on.
Mic on.
What about over the other table? What's your not even X-Men power? Superpower.
Collective power.
You got it?
Take everybody out of life, and I shoot it. That way I can
Yeah. I also have one more thing about Jack in the Box I really want to share publicly. Yeah. The best part of it is I ordered my thing, and then Seth went to order his thing. I was like, wait, did you order for here to go? And I said, oh, I don't remember. And then the lady working behind the counter looked me in the eye and said, and then looked back at him and said, oh, it doesn't matter. His comes in a box. And it was as though I wasn't there. And I felt really special. I was like, all right. And then when we went to Del Taco, Aaron and Kristen get stuff that comes out normally. I ordered a thing that was like 2 different tacos and some fries, and it came in a box. So everything I buy, all my food is like in a box, like a colorful box, so I know it's the food box.
Your superpower is box food.
Yeah, I get all the Happy Meals, I guess.
Oh, and real quick, while we're on the topic of fast food, I have a theory I'd like to put forward about Taco Bell. I think just walking in there can give you indigestion. Because I walked in the other day, get a drink, like an hour later, my stomach was in incredible pain.
What did you eat before you walked in?
Some ramen.
Well, don't eat ramen.
But it's happened before, too. That was just the most recent example.
What did you eat before the other time?
I didn't eat anything.
Well, you didn't eat anything. Your stomach's all like, oh no, I'm digesting myself. I read about that.
But it wasn't that kind of pain. It was the kind of pain that I get when I eat Taco Bell.
That's okay. That's called psychosomatic. That's your brain just pre-deciding, like, well, it's coming. He's going to get the cheesy gordita crunch with all the fire sauce. Survival instinct. Your brain's like, don't do this. But every time I go to Taco Bell, I always go in thinking, like, this time's going to be fun because all the food's colorful. And then it all feels the same coming back out. And I'm like, well.
It all looks the same, too.
It's always regret. We talk a lot about junk food. Not junk. We talk a lot about affordable, quick food on WTF and TFW. So you can tune into some recent episodes. We went into, Wendy's and Jack in the Box. A little bit on McDonald's. A quick one on McDonald's. It's good content for a Transformers podcast. Let's check in the time here. Yeah, we got about 20 minutes left. Anything else you guys really feel like you want to say before the show even starts?
Who's happy to expect in California?
I guess all the California people.
Because it's convenient.
Okay, but how?
Get on a plane.
How many are you from SoCal, and how many are you from NorCal? There's a Central Cal?
It's kind of. It's very much like a lot of it is middle of nowhere though.
It's tax the same. It's all California.
Okay, because I feel like California's the first one. I'm from Canada, so state beefs are always kind of fresh and interesting to me. And it feels like California has like an interstate beef. Like I thought it was just a thing, little joke, but then Seth started talking about cow beefs, and then people started chiming in with their own versions, going yeah.
Also, because you didn't know there were 3 Californias. So there's Southern California.
There are 4 California?
No, I'm just going to explain what they are.
What? So you have SoCal, Central Cal, NorCal, and far NorCal.
You have a NorCal?
Jefferson. The far NorCal tried to get a thing passed so they could split off and become the state of Jefferson. They just wanted to ditch the rest of us. That's a very upper shred.
There was also, wasn't there some kind of proposal to just split California in 4?
It was like
7?
Yeah.
But anyways,
so quarter cals?
Yeah. So there's SoCal, NorCal, NorCal, and then in the middle of that is like a big stretch of nowhere on the highway.
But there's enough people living there that it's SenCal.
Sure.
I like how I heard off in the distance, and like no matter what you say about any California, someone somewhere was like, well,
there's enough people in Southern California to run hotels and Carl's Jr.'s.
I got opinions on Carl's Jr.'s.
I'm very aware. I've listened to your show.
They tried to open up shop in Toronto, short story, across the street from one of the best burger places in Toronto, and they tried to run the same pricing as one of the best burger places in Toronto. I never saw a single person go in there. And I was like, what are you doing stepping up to Holy Chuck's? It's one of the best burger places in Toronto. I have opinions on hamburgers.
I'm sure you do.
Well,
And now?
I have. I've had Whataburger as well. I haven't had Wahlburger yet because now they're everywhere, so it feels less special.
Yeah,
I haven't had the Habit.
Habit is better than that.
Whoa!
Oh, you're trying to start some beef? You trying to start some beef up here, Seth?
Yes.
I mean, no, burger beef is real. Okay, that sounded weird.
All good burger.
Yeah, I went to Rochester and had the garbage plate, so I kind of distilled everything down. That's a good face when I said the garbage plate. You ever like just food, but you don't care how it looks?
Yes.
I'm pro the garbage plate, to be honest, because it's just like a bunch of good flavor, and if you have a spoon, it's kind of like, you know what, I can just not look, and every time it's an adventure. Like, did I get sausage? Did I get potato? Did I get whatever else was on this one?
I mean, if I cared what my food looked like, I would never eat chili fries.
I love how they look. I'll fight you.
Oh,
they're all glistening with the melty cheese hat.
I have the power beast box on my side. What have you got?
I'll destroy the power. Okay, I thought that was going to fall over.
How dare you try to knock over Pink Dio? That is our god.
Try. That's the thing. I tried to knock over an inanimate object and it dodged my finger. That was really weird.
Pink Dio is our god.
You can only knock things over when you're not trying to knock things over.
That's right. Well, the problem is now I'm trying to, on purpose, not trying to knock something over. That's going to be a mess. I'm going to knock this thing over, and then like the whole table's going to flip over.
You're just going to prowl it, knock the whole table over.
Yeah, flip the table over to WinCon on the TCG. We talked about that last panel, by the way.
Miguel has once again requested something. He requested if we fight, we live stream it.
It's happening already.
All right, let's do this.
Now that we got about 20 minutes left before the opening ceremonies, but Colin's not here yet, I want to flip this back over to the crowd quickly.
I thought you were going to flip the table.
That would be messy with all my equipment on it. You guys out there, is there any, like, number one, are you all excited for this TFcon that's about to happen?
I don't think anyone would be here if they weren't excited about it.
Do y'all like Transformers?
Go bots!
How many people came ready to buy a bunch of robots? How many people came ready to buy a triple-digit bunch of robots, monetarily speaking? How many people came ready to spend quadruple digits on robots?
I barely came prepared to spend upper double digits. Like, I think the most expensive thing I'm going to buy is probably that Delta Manus.
Still, that can lead you to triple digits.
I'm not getting Stealth Wing here.
Okay, I gotta ask this. Is anyone here ready to go to quintuple digits
Oh!
The
The best part is he's leaving, so we're never going to find out. This is like quintuple digits. I'm out. All right. Well, what I'll say is, spend. Is that the G2 thing? Oh, I was wondering if you were going to do that big crazy card for it. That's awesome.
They did the big crazy card for it.
Oh, they have the early bird purchasing thing that y'all missed by being here for the. Hi. What's going on, everyone?
That was like right before this.
Oh, it was before this?
Yes, it was during the TCG panel.
The TCG people are the true fans. Excellent.
Do you know how hard it was for me to not just constantly be a distraction and an interrupter?
You were doing it in a subtle way that made me feel like stronger.
Well, when the person asked like where the games were going to be, I had to bite my tongue and keep from yelling out back by the dumpsters.
Thank you for not saying that. 'Cause that's where
I
the
was
real money is.
I was being a sweet boy.
To be
Yeah,
fair,
you're a sweet boy.
To be fair, I tried to derail it at the end by asking if you knew how the chairs were made. I was almost there. Aaron flipped a chair.
Yeah.
I did it. I almost completely derailed the last 2 minutes, but last minute, that's fine.
That's because Aaron, who's somewhere out there in the world, I don't know where he is,
Right there.
is real good at keeping stuff on target. Whatever happened to Aaron after that panel, I don't know.
He's right in
He's
front
now
of you.
moderating the chat.
Really? Did I make you a chat mod? I forgot about that. What's happening? Did you have to moderate anything?
Nothing. I'm just sitting here watching it.
Okay, well, thank you. Aaron said he's moderating the chat. There's a live stream running that I keep forgetting I turned on. And thank you, Aaron, wherever you are. Do you guys have any, just quickly, because we got time, I don't know, do you have any questions about, actually, before we do this, before I forget, do any of you have anything going on this weekend that you're doing that you want to tell everyone you're doing it? Even if you're just going to a town, you're like, I'd like to go with you. Yes?
I actually, with this fellow in the red hair here, Zero, we're heading up the Transformers Jeopardy trivia game, which I don't think has ever come to a TFcon USA before. So that's gonna be fun.
That is newly at 7:30 p.m.
That is correct.
Tomorrow night. And yeah, you should check that out. Transformers Jeopardy sounds pretty solid.
Why did times change? Why did the times change?
That happens sometimes. The times change as the years go on. I have no idea if we're supposed to say that the times change. All we can say is that the times change.
I thought it was a time zone thing.
Yeah,
in Virginia.
Yeah, it's being moved to Mountain Time. But check out the Jeopardy, and actually, if you're going to check out the Jeopardy and you want to get there early, an hour before the Jeopardy is going to be Transformers Fan Creator Roundtable. I think it's I've come up with that name, and I'm very proud of it, so I keep forgetting it. That's going to be with myself and Paul Optibotimus and John Epic Voice Guy. I looked up their names. That's
you have a second.
Yeah, that's why I just didn't. That's why I said I'm on it with these two. It's a way to like slide my name underneath. Is like it's actually the underline under all of them. That's going to be very much based on doing fan creator stuff, fan media stuff. I'm hoping it's to keep things in it, like not just about making YouTube videos, but also just about the process of working on stuff that's creative, keeping yourself going, keeping stuff coming out, staying satisfied. It's going to be very Q&A-ish, so if you guys want to come and ask questions, especially about my still life photography I took on an airplane, please come out to that and stick around for the Jeopardy.
I thought it was aeroplane. I thought that was a key part of this.
I messed that up. That's because I was really busy writing the word poo on a bunch of photos on my iPhone. I couldn't remember that part. Anything else going on? Seth, there's something you're going to be taking part in. You're going to be taking part in the next podcast Roundtable panel. That's happening on Sunday, right after the closing ceremonies. Yeah, that's right. What's that thing you're doing, that criminal act?
Getting more duck tacos.
I want to try those. Has anyone here tried the duck tacos I keep hearing about? Just one? All right, this is going. You got it? How are they? Okay, so it's 4 for 4 now. People tell me this is really good. If you're staying at the hotel, I've heard you should probably try the duck tacos if ducks are your thing. They're apparently very good.
Are these tacos made from duck meat?
Yes.
Yes. That's why they're called duck tacos.
Hang on. I thought it was. Wait, hold on. I thought it was because they throw them at you and you have to duck so they don't hit you in the face.
Well, then how are you going to eat them?
Off the wall.
That's disgusting. That's just utterly disgusting. You catch him in your mouth. That's you. Anyway.
But then why are they duck tacos if you don't duck?
He's got the answer.
Thank you.
He has got all the answers to Jeopardy.
He does, literally, at Jeopardy, he will have all the answers. Ask him, and he will get you on the path of victory. Unless that's not allowed. I'm not sure.
I do take bribes.
Okay, if you want to win at Jeopardy and you got the cash.
One box, guaranteed win.
Whoa. Whoa.
I also have all the answers.
Oh.
He'll take even more bribes if you want to beat the people who paid him to get the answers.
You better be giving me something good for that stuff.
Huh? Anyway, we got a few little things going on throughout the weekend. Check them out. Check out all the other stuff going on too. If I can give some advice, pace yourself, especially with this many guests and this much stuff going on. Like if you want to just chill out in the panel room, make sure you bring a bottle of water. Stay hydrated. You know, if you want to do a whole bunch of stuff that's happening at the same time, figure out which one you like the most. Go do it, and then see if the next one can happen. See if it can't happen. Just roll with it. You know, make sure you're having fun first and foremost. It's fun to have a checklist, but no one's going to check up on your checklist afterwards. No one's going to be like, "Hey, did you? I noticed that you were at 3 of the voice actor Q&As. I didn't see you at the 4th one. Were you there?" Then just lie and say, "Yes, I was there." And if they're like, "But I saw you doing the autograph thing," then just say like, "Yeah, I was doing that too. I got a body double. What are you going to do about it?" And just play it straight face, and they'd be like, "Oh, whoa, I don't want to mess with the guy with the body double."
I am secretly a twin. How did you know that?
See, you figure things out when you just act with confidence. But yeah, have a really good time, and check back in with us at the post-show podcast roundtable, because I want to hear about the good time y'all having. Before we end, I want to ask you guys some questions. I know that people tend to do Q&As and stuff, so I want to ask all of you questions. So just put up your hand if you got an answer. What's a holy grail kind of item you're hoping to find this year? Anyway, got holy grails. Got one over there. Yeah, the actual holy grail. You might not find it, but I appreciate.
Chosen Prime had it.
The Chosen Prime might have one. I appreciate the confidence. We had Star Saber over here. G1 Star Saber. Are you looking for any specific condition? Complete. All right. Fingers crossed. Sometimes you get. Oh, we got back here. G2 Blast Off Watch. If anyone here has the hookup, we got a buyer. In the back? She's got her hand up over here. Yep.
Metroplex.
Which one?
G1.
G1 Metroplex. All right. Over here.
G1 aerial bots.
G1, pardon?
Superion.
G1 Superion aerial bots. We got someone looking for those. Over there. MMC Salvia Promonon. Over here in the front.
Either Shattered Glass, Megatron, and Optimus, or Armada Jetfire.
We got someone looking for the Armada pants and shoulder pads. We got someone looking for SG Optimus and Megatron over there. Titan's Predaking? The what? Upgrade set for the Titan Predaking, the DNA one. All right. We got over there. Any Devastator. We got someone who just wants lime green and purple construction vehicles that go together into a big boy in their life.
I can make a suggestion. The DX9 pocket scale one's pretty good.
He has a suggestion. The DX9 pocket scale one is... Okay, you got it. Anyone else looking for anything they're really after? Over here. G1 Overlord. G1 Overlord. We got someone looking for Overlord. We got someone looking for Star Saber. Hopefully you guys get hooked up with someone who brings in like some lightly played with ones. I've seen that happen once in a blue moon, and it's a good feeling. Over here. Oh, the subscription service needle nose. The one who's like can turn into a limb. All right, I hope you can find that without like being roped into buying literally all the rest of them. I'm not sure how. I haven't looked into that. Anything else anyone's looking for? Over here.
Iron Factory Con, and I want to pull Predaking.
All right, Iron Factory, and you want to pull a Predaking.
Yeah,
If you don't,
I want Predaking.
if you don't pull Predaking after you open that box, let me tell you, some people are playing some TCG stuff at a slide I had on earlier.
So
Yeah, you can probably trade for one. Predakings are uncommons. Over here with your hand up. Complete G1 6 shot. Do you care if it's the reissue? Do you care if it's the reissue? You'd like original, but sounds a little open to the reissue. I don't know. It's one of those situations. All right, over here. Nucleon Quest Convoy. That's hard to say. It's a lot of like hidden U's in there.
Nucleon Quest Convoy.
Nucleon.
I did it. I said the thing.
Nucleon Quest Convoy. That's the black one, right? Yeah, the black one with the G2 fiction behind it. Yeah. All right. Any other grails? I'm mostly just chilling out till like Colin or I guess Evan walks up and says we're ready to do the opening ceremonies.
I had a completely unrelated question.
Go. Yes.
Does anybody have a DVD with the episode?
Yes.
Right?
Yes. It's up in my room.
Okay.
Here at the podcast roundtable, we are interested in solutions. That is a solution. Speaking of solutions, any other things people are looking for so I can yell them and maybe someone in the room's like, no, I got that. They all have DVDs. Evan, you're hooked up.
Does anyone have it in this room?
Are we going to solve this thing right now?
I don't know.
This is weird because I thought physical media was dead.
No, people just carry it around
with their wall paintings.
They carry it around as jewelry now. Like it's just a creature mall.
Now when the voice actors are here to sign the physical.
Imagine going back to, okay, for those of you who are like, a million years old like me, going back in time to your kid self and saying one day you're going to be in a room with someone who can just straight face say, oh, I've got all the G1 in the car. I can just, don't worry, I got it all on my watch. I can just turn it on. Sometimes it tells me it wants me to do things during panels. I just tap my watch and G1 starts playing. I don't know, I think it's still amazing. I think it's amazing. You're going to be it's not that amazing. My watch can play all the G1 and G2 with the CyberCube stuff.
My watch can communicate with people.
That's not the same as Transformers.
But Transformers can communicate with people.
No, they can't. They're fictional characters. That's strange.
They can communicate with fictional people in the fictional world, though.
Well, are they going to tell you about it? No, they can't because they're fictional. Boom! What do you call it? Intellectual checkmates. I heard that once on the internet. No? Okay. So we did the Grail call. Is anyone here getting an autograph they have waited years to get? Just show of hands. All right, I like this part a lot. Are any of those autographs for people who are first-time guests of the show? Someone's real psyched. All right. I'm going to go to the back middle there. Who are you looking forward to? Yeah, you. Yeah. Michael Bell? All right. Yeah. He's not necessarily a first-time guest, although I think this is the first time he's been at TFcon LA 2019. So technically, it's still on. I was trying to make this complicated partly to fill in some time, to be perfectly honest. But over here. Warpath is okay. Is anyone going to be going like, hey, can you just write a bunch of onomatopoeia? You don't even have to sign the. Yeah, you are.
Oh no, I was pointing at the just came up on the same.
Okay, I thought you were really hyped. Like, no, I'm going to get him to write bang and pow and kazooie and bling.
I feel like now I need to get that Iron Factory Warpath and get him to sign with all that.
Yeah, just like write all over the toy.
The box.
No, write all over the toy. Go all in.
You gotta make sure.
But then I can't play with it though. I can't transform
You
it.
can still play with it. You just Sharpie.
Yeah, but it'll
You gotta make sure you ask them to work out a little skit on what would happen if Warpath went through McDonald's.
Anyone here? Your
chicken sandwiches.
Anyone who used to go to BotCons? Anyone get what that was?
Unfortunately.
All the hands went down. Did they stop doing that at BotCons?
I didn't go to any BotCons, but I still got that.
Yeah.
The internet told me.
Oh, it was a little bit of a far stretch one. Seth just mentioned, hey, I wonder if someone's gonna, get Warpath to talk about what he would do if he went to the drive-through. Wondering if anyone here ever went to a BotCon before, and maybe no, we're all growing very old. We're all fading away into the distance. Speaking of which, we've got about 5 minutes left. I had this big list of questions I was going to ask you guys, and they were all about Holy Grails and who's going to go and see which voice actors, and we ran out. So I'll just do what we did with the TCG panel very quickly. Might not get to all of them. Do any of you have any questions for us about podcasting, Transformers, life, the nature of this building, architecture? Over here, you had your hand up right away. Have any of us got Wave 2 Siege hands-on?
I've got Soundwave.
He's got Soundwave. You're nodding over there, too. All right. Did you get him?
Soundwave he's got a solid robot mode. The alt mode is really dumb, but if you can get past that, he's a good figure.
I'm being betrayed.
I'm saying it's dumb. I'm not saying I don't like it.
But it's so beautiful.
I think it's
I still
great.
feel there's...
I like it a lot. I think it's a fun alt mode.
Yeah.
It's real weird and blocky and honestly pretty dumb, but it's great.
All right.
It sounds like a boombox.
Listen.
You can fake it.
Any toy, if you really want to fold it into a rectangle, you can say it's a boombox from an alien planet.
Although if you want to take the battle damage off of the window, use a magic eraser, not alcohol, because that's going to melt it.
Sounds like a voice experience. Oh, over here.
I have a question. For any of you guys, have you guys seen the Bumble movie? You guys like it?
Have we seen the Bumble movie and the Bumble movie? Have we seen the Bumble movie in Japan? And did we like it? I did, and I did really like it. There was a little bit that made me tear up, and it wasn't in the opening minutes. It was much later on.
I have seen the Bumblebee movie. I think it's great. I want to see it again.
It's the only good Transformers.
Throwing shade at the 86 movie there, I see.
I'd love to hear your thoughts on games. Okay, there we
Live
go.
action movie.
2007 was okay.
It is one of the two good live action movies. The other one is Age of Extinction.
Boom! Yes! The Camp of Two!
Yes, I love Bumblebee movie, but I wanted to see it actually. Starscream not much weight.
But
Spoilers!
Are we allowed to spoil it?
No, it's not out in, I don't own it in the home theater yet, so I'm going to say no.
Okay, what about Mike off spoilers?
No. We don't have enough time.
All right.
You have a hand up over there.
But yes, for you guys, it's not.
Derek Wyatt.
Derek Wyatt.
Nobody.
You just don't care about any of the people.
Sorry, yeah, over here. No, okay, so during that scene, I was sitting next to a friend of mine who really likes a certain red Autobot. And then as the scene was happening, I said, hey, did you hear him confirm his name a whole bunch? Hey, what'd you think of that scene? Hey, what's going on? And then that character's name is long enough that you can kind of write it in two segments. Later that night, around 3 in the morning, I sent him a text with that character's name in two parts with a skull emoji in the middle. That wasn't the part where I teared up a bit. It was mostly the theme of a human character going through a sort of legit kind of resonant trauma, but then having a big fictional character give her a hug. And something about that really was like, oh.
So it didn't involve a song from the soundtrack of a classic 80s movie.
The song I actually never heard before.
How is this possible?
So I've never seen whatever Breakfast Club.
How is this possible?
So I watched the Transformers movie instead of Breakfast Club.
How have you not done that?
You can watch more than one movie.
No.
That is entirely possible. I've done it.
What's up?
Bezos just has a list of
Yep,
movies
we're good.
for every year. And you can only watch one movie
Sorry.
for each year.
It's almost 8. So. Yeah, it's calling. I don't know what. Okay. Hey, well, so we're going to wrap up. We're going to move into a form of opening ceremonies, which is kind of like just stuff happening. And then after that stuff happens, we're going to have Flint Dilly doing some commentary on the 5 faces of darkness. Because the Quintessons have 5 faces. And they're sort of evil characters shrouded in darkness. That's why and also there's 5 episodes.
Spoiler alert.
They're the Quintessons. That's who the 5 faces of darkness are. It's the Quintessons. Do you guys, hey, quick question. Do y'all think the Quintessons, if they existed, would they be firm or would they be kind of squishy? Squishy? Squishy?
Firm on the outside, squishy on the inside.
I mean,
final answer.
Okay, specifically.
Oh, we're starting a riot.
Specifically, the glowy underbit on the Quintessons.
That's a laser.
I'm just going to repeat.
The thing the laser comes out of.
The globy part would be firm, but the tentacles would be squishy.
I'm going to repeat: firm on the outside, squishy on the inside.
Eggs and face, egg body faces are metal and hard, and like he said, tentacles are supple.
You think they'd be metal and hard? Because I'm thinking those parts would be kind of like.
They have like panel lines.
Yeah, but like, you know, they're all kind of bulbous looking. I'm thinking more like.
Well, you're bulbous looking.
Fight. I'm thinking like kind of like reptile skin. You know, like it's firm, but then when you push harder, it's not. You know what I mean? Like when you push on a snake, you guys do. It's the thing we do in Toronto, snake pushing.
I have a leopard gecko.
Okay.
Or skin.
I like how you turned the mic and then you just were like so I could hear your disappointment for a second. Anyway, thank you for coming out to TFcon, which is about to start, and please enjoy.
Where did you get the t-shirt?
Where did you get the t-shirts?
Somewhere online, I can't remember.
Look up Toys R Us t-shirt. I bet you there's a whole bunch on like Yeti and T Fury and
Redbubble.
It's on the internet.
Internet.com.
Actually, it's internet.net.
Yeah, internet.net. Thank you guys for joining me. Most of us will be back, unless people have to leave on Sunday. And enjoy whatever else is going on before the Five Faces.
Thank you.